How's it going, man?
Tired.
Been a long week.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your holidays?
It was all right. I mean, it was pretty quiet. I didn't do too much.
Yeah. Well, I
How
guess
was your?
thanks everybody for joining. This is Free Talk Friday. Please join us for a conversation if you want to. Um, my holidays are pretty good.
What'd you get for
Um,
Christmas?
Socks. Nothing. I mean, at smart wool socks. That's what I ask for every year, and I let everybody know that I am okay with getting only that. So I got 5 pairs of smart wool socks.
Nice.
It's not a joke. It's $20 a pair, man. So
$20 a pair.
yeah. What'd you get for Christmas?
Nothing.
No?
Not a single thing. No.
Did you get anybody anything for Christmas?
No.
No. They're good. Even pull. You know, some people out there are net getters. Some of are
We
net
also
takers.
don't. We also don't just like. My family doesn't really just like get together for like the holidays. We don't. We kind of do, but we don't. Like we did something for Thanksgiving, but we don't like do too much. I stopped by my mom's house, said hey. Stopped by my sister's house, said hey, and then got some Casey's pizza and came home and chilled and watched Succession
On the 25th, 2 days ago.
on Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. My in-laws, they do their Christmas on Christmas Eve. So on Christmas I went and got some Chinese food.
I
It's
saw
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know it's gonna be good when you walk in and the owner's kid and her are sitting at the desk and he's working on his homework. This is gonna be great. It was very good. But anyways, what's anything catch your eye this week, news wise? Anything on your mind?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I was so busy like with everything else behind the scenes that I didn't really even like follow what was going on until you
Yeah.
started saying something.
Yeah, my current obsession is this there's this like MAGA battle going on X over HB1 visas. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are trying to say, "Oh, we need more foreign tech workers or something like that," and it's really pissing off the MAGA base.
So, how did that come about? Because I didn't really follow how it like happened.
I can't find Musk's original tweet, but basically what he was doing is he was going on there trying to make this point that we need to have more foreign workers here because okay, so here's his I haven't found the original tweet, but here's just somebody replying to his tweet. He says, "No, we need more, like double that number yesterday. The number of people who are super talented engineers and super motivated in the US is far too low. Think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit the top talent, whatever." And
Mhm.
then I'll show you the tweet that I actually noticed. Where Vivek, I just couldn't believe Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to sell this to the MAGA base, but here we go. So the reason why the top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers out of Native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy or wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Nobody calls culture the C word. The questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. And then he goes on and talks about how prom queens and jocks and all other stuff. This guy's trying to tell an American nationalistic base that their culture is a problem. The reason why we need foreigners to come here is because they're lazy. They like sports and beauty pageants or something like that. It was kind of amazing that he's trying to sell this to the MAGA base. You know?
Yeah. I think I mean, I don't think he's the way he probably said it was wrong. I mean, just saying like, you know, maybe he should have said something like, we should look at how other, people in different countries operate and how
Yeah.
and like, how they push their kids to do this or focus on this or, like invest more in education and opportunities and stuff like that versus saying our American culture is like.
Well, I mean, let's I mean, we got to know why Elon and Vivek are trying to fight this battle, basically trying to turn around and say, "No, immigration is good now that the election is over." They're tech industry executives. They want cheap labor. They want HB1 visa workers because an HB1 visa worker is not going to unionize. They're not going to demand wages increases because they're under this threat of, oh, you don't listen to us, we're going to revoke your visa and you're going to go back home. They just want cheap labor to exploit, and this is why they're trying to pitch this all of a sudden. And it's just like, are you serious? You're trying to pitch this to the MAGA base?
Well, the whole thing too, it's after that uproar with like the tariffs and things like that and realizing how much labor is cheap overseas. They're trying to
Mhm.
like you said, bring that over here to where it's like we don't have to have things made overseas, more American made things, but instead of like making those things overseas and shipping them here, let's just ship the workers over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
um I think they were only talking about the tech space, but I mean, this is kind of the thing that the conservative voting base, they don't often emphasize this disconnect between them and their politicians that they support and vote in. Like, big business loves cheap labor. Big business loves undocumented labor because the
Mhm.
power dynamic, the asymmetry is just way too in favor of the business. And it's the same thing here. It's just, I I don't know if it's ever been this mask off before, you know? We have a billionaire who's openly in control of conservative American politics because he bought a president. And he's not even trying to hide. There's no shadowy billionaire, shadowy hand this time. He's just out there. He's just out there saying, I'm if you Republican don't do what I say, I'm going to primary you. Pretty much saying that. And then
And wasn't he also complaining like a few days ago of like unelected officials should not be having sway and blah blah blah? And people were like, dude, you're literally influencing things.
yeah. But I want to show you a few more tweets before we really get into it. Let's see. So then you started seeing replies to their Twitters like, my son graduated with honors, electrical computer engineering. And then it starts getting to the point where I think it was going, any white male he knew in college can't get jobs either. Men are currently working in data center jobs that don't require their education. And then finally, like, we don't have to go into everything I compiled, but here, let's see. This is where it started going. So you get Red Pill Media. I'm sure there's, one of a million conservative talking pages. He's like, I want people like Vivek to be immediately deported back to India. I'm tired of these parasites telling white Americans how to run the country. And it's just like, Vivek, that's what happens when you try to get into bed with like a really conservative and lots of racist,
Do you
rhetoric
think there's some
base.
truth to like what they're trying to say though?
No, I think they just want cheap labor. They want cheap labor that's easy to exploit because they're tech executives, and an HB1 visa worker is easier to exploit than a regular American. Like, regular Americans, there's plenty of us with so there's like, if I remember it correctly, we have twice as many people with STEM degrees than there are jobs. And the reason why people like Elon and Vivek want to see more HB1 visa holders come here is because the like I said, the power dynamic is just way in favor of the businesses. But then now like this base that they were essentially kind of leading, now you got somebody who's just coming out and saying Vivek should be deported back to India. And it's like, Vivek's from Ohio. He was born in Ohio. Like, maybe his parents were immigrants. I'm not entirely sure. But now you got your
No,
base
his parents are
revolting.
immigrants. I remember him saying on the campaign trail his mom became a naturalized citizen, but his dad did not.
Mm.
His dad chose not to. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, the MAGA civil war is wild. And then Laura Loomer versus
Yeah.
Elon Musk. full on
Yeah.
sparring on Twitter or X.
Yeah, because apparently all of these conservative talking channels they came out talking against Elon. Suddenly they started getting um, muted. They had their blue checks taken away. I mean, they're talking all about like, oh my god, free speech on Twitter is going down. Oh no, and it's just like, well,
It
yeah,
was
because
never there.
you're
It was
speaking.
never
Okay,
there.
you were allowed to say whatever you wanted as long as Elon liked it. You know, and
Mhm.
it's just like now you're learning there is no such thing as a free speech absolutist, because if you really gave if you really put some thinking into that, you'd know how crazy that is. But yeah, so I mean, I I was just scrolling through Twitter and I came across this like conservative profile. This guy was like, he did like a 12-minute video just lamenting how, oh god, everything on here is just, it's so terrifying how they're shutting us off, and it's just like, where were you the last year, man?
Yeah, like you were fine when it was happening to other people,
Yeah.
but people can't take the heat when it comes to them, you know? Like you got to understand this is somebody else's platform, right? Like you can't go to somebody's house and get upset that, you know, they tell you you have to follow their rules or they want to kick you out whenever or say you can't say that or behave that way in my house.
It doesn't even at this point, like,
It's the
it's not even.
entitlement. It's the entitlement of like being on a social media platform and thinking that like I can do and say whatever I want to say and do.
Yeah.
And when the people who own said platform say no you can't, or I disagree with you so I'm going to like, you know, stifle your voice, you know, it is what it is. It's the terms of use.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just like, it's not even satisfying to say I told you so. It's just like, this
Yeah.
was so predictable. We were telling you, man, he was basically just a technocrat. I mean, he told you that he was buying public forums so that we could let free speech reign. And then yeah, you only like that because he was backing what you were saying. And now he's not backing what you're saying anymore. Now you're getting the same treatment. You're getting censored. And it's just like, well, we told you. But it's not
Somebody said
fun.
somebody said Laura Loomer sounds like a jealous ex-girlfriend
It's because she is.
because like, you know, before she was Trump's, you know, right-hand woman.
So,
Now Musk is his right-hand man or who is there with him everywhere. She doesn't like
well,
that.
well, no, I mean, I'm she and Trump were clearly in some kind of relationship. And then,
Wait, like
are you never saw him do the belly to belly little picture thing? I don't
no,
know.
I don't think they were in a relationship like that. Like
Yes, they were.
no they
They
were not.
definitely were. I
No, they
mean,
were
can I
not.
prove it? Can I prove it 100%? But like, the person who got rid of her is the one who's saying this.
Listen, we can't say wild things on here. Otherwise my accounts are going to get shut down.
Allegedly, she was in a relationship with Trump, but I do know that like, what's his name, Milo Yiannopoulos. Apparently, he was a speechwriter for the Trump campaign, and he was writing speeches for Laura Loomer when she was still, on the inside and stuff. And then he was basically like the one who was told to give her marching orders, like to leave or something like that.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's kind of the gossip that's coming out of. I mean, I'm not going to say Milo Yiannopoulos is like the best source ever. It's just sometimes he's talking, and I'm like, he has no reason to lie. This is a situation where he's like, he doesn't gain anything from this. But I mean, you saw that picture of Laura Loomer and Trump, right?
Which one?
I don't know if I can find it. I don't know if you want me to even show it. It's nothing. It's just them. It's like, it's a picture that you don't take unless that person's your boo. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This isn't the best one. Let's see here. So it's the one on the left. They're getting off close to each other. It's not a very good picture. It's just one I just found off of like that. But come on. You see that?
Damn.
I mean, there's some affection going there. Maybe they're just very platonic and affectionate and stuff. But rumor has it that when Trump found out she's had plastic surgery, that's when he got tired of her. It was just like, hey, man's got standards, I guess.
What? Wait, that can't be okay. So do you remember when I shared in the group chat that video? It was like, why do Republican women look like that?
No, I don't, but jog my memory.
So this, hold on. Let me see. Oh, it was this video. Hold on. So this YouTuber made this video. Gosh, sorry, I'm trying to get it. Her name is what? Amanda Mariana. So it's this video.
Why do you... Oh, no. Oh,
Look at,
no.
like, if you see the
Oh,
bill,
my gosh.
you see how Laura Loomer used to look?
Which,
That's
okay, Laura Loomer's up in the top left, right?
No, Laura Loomer is the bottom right. The top left is Kristi Noem.
Oh, no.
The bottom left is what's his name? Eric. Yeah, Eric Trump's. No,
it's not Eric. It's
Don
Donald
Jr.'s.
Trump.
Yeah, Don Jr.'s
wife.
The
I
top
can't remember her
right.
name.
That's not even his wife. That's his fiance, I
It's
think.
just
And that's
something like that.
Gavin Newsom's ex-wife.
Yeah, I knew that. Look at what she looked like before, man. That sucks. I mean,
And the
look
top
the way
right
look
is
the way you want.
yeah, Eric Trump's wife.
So what are they cutting out that little piece of fat in the face or something, whatever it's called?
The buccal surgery.
Yeah.
I want to get that. I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
That's gonna be, listen, I'm telling you, man, that's gonna be a fad that's gonna die. I'm
Well,
telling you.
okay. I would say looking at this, like,
That's not good.
I don't know if Kristi Noem had work done. I think she just changed her hairstyle and started wearing much more heavy makeup. Laura Loomer and this lady, Kimberly, definitely.
Kimberly Guilfoyle, is it?
Her, I think she looks like she might have just got some like Botox, like stiffen up her.
Man, you want to talk about bad plastic surgery? Matt Gaetz. Did you ever see his before and after? Let's see if we pull that up. Free Talk Friday, guys. If anybody wants to jump on and talk about whatever you want to talk about, just join. Okay, let's see. If
I'm looking at my eyebrows, Matt.
Oh no! Are you seeing this?
Oop, hold on. Let me.
I just found a good one. It's like something definitely happened to that guy's forehead.
You can put it up.
All right, I found an even better one while we were waiting, but
that video is very interesting, and she talks about how like JD Vance's wife looks out of place because she just looks like herself.
So this is Matt Gaetz before work, and then this is him allegedly after work. You see that, right?
I do.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not one of those people that can tell you.
He definitely, okay, maybe not definitely, but from what I can like see, that it looks like he got like fillers right here because he had crow's feet. If you could see the wrinkles there.
Oh yeah.
It looks like he got something Botox right here in his forehead.
Something under his eyes. Yeah, his eyes and the side of his eyes.
It looks like he lost some weight, but also got fillers right here to like fill out his. I mean,
I'm not trying to look shame, man.
I'm not either. I mean, like,
you're happy.
Yeah, do what makes you feel beautiful, but
yeah, some people like that. You know, Jeff Bezos. You see his, like, dude, Mackenzie Scott was his first wife,
mm-hmm.
and then he, you know, he divorced her and went with the the other lady.
I saw a thing of Rihanna
Yes,
when
it
she
was
was like a
nicely.
teenager and had like a whole bunch of acne, and people were just like, you know what, you're not ugly, you're just broke.
Oh, what? Oh no.
Because what
I
they
thought
what they're saying is like once you have money, you can achieve the look that you want.
this is the look I have now is the look I want. So,
Okay, so
and I still have money.
here's the thing about Matt Gates. I don't think he looks bad.
Yeah.
I don't think he looks bad, honestly. You know what they say? Like they say beauty is symmetry, right? Like
Oh,
fill
yeah.
things out, make it look more symmetrical. He doesn't look like his looks a little bit more natural. His doesn't look like when people overdo it. You know, when you see people who overdo it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a difficult thing to talk about because it's like in some cases like people are just they're really happy with the work they get. And then in other cases there might be some kind of like, mental health thing going on. It's just like how can you really like criticize somebody for it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when people have the money to fix what insecurities they have,
Mhm.
you know,
We're all doing it, I think.
that's another thing too. Like I'm so proud of my teeth. Like so everyone on my dad's side of the family has very nice teeth.
Nice.
And so I got my dad's teeth. So I've never had braces. I've never had
Dang.
braces.
Neither have I.
So
But
like
man, you need to check your privilege, dude. Do you ever have any cavities, any fillers, any
oh,
fillings or anything like that?
yeah.
Okay. Yours just
I've
look nice.
so prior I told you this the last time. I had when I was younger, I had a lot of cavities, so I had like a lot of metal. Like you could see like metal, and then the new dentist that I started going to a few years ago removed all of them and like replaced them with like tooth colored fillings. Then I've had like some crowns and things like that. But for the most part, like I try to keep things. I don't think I would ever like go to getting like full on veneers because I don't feel like I need to do that. But I feel like I'm trying to just maintain the teeth that I have as well. I mean, because over time, the older you get, your teeth kind of just, you know, slowly. You know what I mean? Like your teeth as they are like when you're, 12, 13, 14 years old are not the same as they are when you're in like your 40s, 50s or 60s.
Sure. Yeah, and then
So
you only
so
get one set.
so I'm trying my best to just like maintain it and things like that. So yeah.
There were some doctors who recently came out saying like, "Oh yeah, we've created the drug that will help you regrow teeth. Turns off some kind of protein that shuts off teeth growth when you hit a certain age or something like that." And it's just like, let me know. Let me know when that's hitting the shelves, man.
Would you do it?
Yeah, I got some bad teeth in here, man.
But the thing is, would it bring the same teeth, like tooth structure back? Would you still have the same tooth structure?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like imagine if you had a tooth removed and then just another one comes back. So I mean, it's possible they could come back. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but like,
So
dude,
I was talking to my sister on Christmas about this. Like my tooth front teeth when I was younger, I like had them missing for a long time. I can't remember if they got pulled out because they were just so heavy with cavity or if they got knocked. I don't think they got knocked out. I think I just like they got pulled out. And she was like, "You did not have front teeth for like years. Like we were starting to get worried."
oh,
And then like once my like more permanent teeth came in, they were just like, oh. Like, they really thought that I wasn't gonna have two front teeth anymore. Like my sister's like, yeah, dude, we were worried. You did not have your front teeth for like a few years to the point where yeah, it was kind of just like And I was also like, I hit my growth spurt late. And my other sister was like, yeah, dude, we were also kind of like worried about you, but we didn't want to tell you because we didn't want to freak you out.
well, good for them.
But my brother's like what, 6'3",
Damn, how
uh,
tall are you?
5'10" and a half. Like I'm pretty average
Man,
height, I guess. But like I'm below average for South Sudanese because like all my cousins and stuff like that, when I went to South Sudan, as I told you before, like the closest person in height to me was like probably like 6'2" and a half.
Jeez.
Crazy.
So you're short compared to your family members.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. I wish I was. I wish I was taller, but
you know what's funny is I'm tall compared to my family members. So
really.
hell yeah, Mexicans, we're short.
Let me see if I can find a photo that I took when I was in South Sudan, because this will give you a perspective of just like how tall people there are. Oh, we hope you are doing well, Jazari. Thank you, Sarah. I saw that you were doing some things with Patrick, and that was really, really good to see. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and the holiday season is treating you well. It's been a long time, but I'm glad to see or happy to see you pop in and say hello. Dang, I
Man,
posted a lot of photos. Wow.
I did not. Dude, it just seems like that's the number one story all today is this MAGA civil war. Divorce incoming. Starts MAGA civil war, slam on America. Yeah, everybody's it seems like most everybody online is like they took in what Vivek Ramaswamy said and was just like, you're slamming American culture. And it's just like, ooh,
Okay, here it
because
is. I found it.
venerated mediocrity. And it's just like, I don't know if Tom Brady's mediocre.
Look at this, Tommy.
What? Man, I don't even know if I come up to
Look at the people's reactions. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude. In the village.
Does that guy actually play for Duke? Because I'd believe it.
No. And they're teenagers when I took this.
That's crazy, man.
That's insane. God. One of my friends was like, you look like a grade school kid. Somebody was like, I think this is photoshopped. Laura, haha. Those are some tall men. Holy cow. Look at those guys. What do they feed the kids down there? Ultra broccoli.
Ultra broccoli.
This is my cousin who's here. South Sudan is full of tall people.
Damn. I need to get my son to marry a Sudanese person because
dang, you're short.
Dude, I'm short. I'm 5'5". I need to figure out I need to get my son to marry a tall person.
Non-poisonous foods. And it's true, like there is in the village there, like there's no genetically modified anything. Like it's all natural.
That's a complicated conversation. Like technically I'm genetically modified. Like, you know.
Wow.
And not to mention, like you spend your you know a year in a plant lab, you understand that like there's not that big difference between cross pollination and all that other stuff, and you know, Jeez. Doing that work in the lab instead of out in the field. But
that's crazy, man. Why am I this like height? You know, like
are you okay? Your parents are relatively short for Sudanese.
No, my mom is actually pretty tall. I think my mom, like, for a woman, I think my mom is like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah, that's pretty good. And your dad was?
My dad was probably like 6 foot.
Damn.
But like I've seen too, like when people have like parents like that kind of that height, like their kids are usually taller too.
Yeah.
But like,
so are these your cousins or brothers?
No, these were some guys these were my cousin's friends that I met in the village. Yeah.
How tall is your cousin?
6'7", 6'8".
What? No, I had a great grandpa who was 6'7", and I'm 5'5". It's
when they create a drug that hits that growth spurt or like, you know, helps you grow taller, let me know.
Yeah. I know.
No kidding. Would you do that?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see what the side effects are. You know,
a like on Facebook from who is this? Police Academy Public School Press Club. Whoa.
Good for them. Yeah, thanks you. But
wait, they're not here. They are +231. What area country code is that? We are doing well. Good to hear, Sarah.
Liberia.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's watching from Liberia. Welcome.
You are bringing me on a journey that just blows my mind, man. I don't spend a lot of time on the internet besides like doom scrolling on Reddit. and it's just this whole world where people could just be watching you from several countries away. It kind of just blows my mind, you know. Liberia is an interesting country.
Let me look at.
You ever see the Liberian flag?
No. But
Look it
okay,
up.
so on one of these pages, I look at these analytics sometimes and it also blows my mind. It says United States 6,800 followers, Nigeria 170, South Africa 151, Jamaica 94, Ghana 89, South Sudan 81, Uganda 81, United Kingdom 71, Sierra Leone 64, and Zambia 64. Those are like the top countries. That's cool.
Check out the Liberian flag and see if it makes you think and ask any questions. Looks familiar, doesn't it?
Like the US of A flag, huh?
You want to know why?
Why?
Because Liberia was founded in 1822 by freed African Americans and formerly enslaved individuals from the United States under the sponsorship of the American Colonization Society. So,
I did not know that.
You know, some people, I think it was Marcus Garvey was the leader of the Black nationalist movement, and they advocated for going back to Africa. Some people did.
It just what blows my mind is all the stuff that you know. Like the fact that you're able to like cite Supreme Court cases from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s is just wild to me.
Well, I got to double check myself. Political activist.
But the fact that you can like recall a piece of information like, oh, I think that was from this case.
Yeah. I mean, I just, you know.
You studied history, right? You've always been into history, huh?
Well, see, yeah, it was my strongest subject in high school, and I think that if I had been braver in college, I would have studied history and then maybe even gone to law school or something like that. But I was just worried about like, well, what if I graduate with a history degree and I just don't, you know, it's not like they're building like the history factory, you know. There's not a history factory being opened up in Rocaberry or anything like that.
But actually, you know what a great job would be if you're a historian?
What's that? Curator at a museum?
Working for the Smithsonian? That would be fun. That would be fun.
I imagine the world's best like I don't know if we can call them besides curators, but I imagine the people there are probably the best in their field.
Well, yeah.
I'd be a freaking. Go ahead.
Hey, Guillermo, come on. Come
talk to us, man.
Yeah, come talk to us. So, like the African American History Museum was so cool. Like seeing all this stuff, I'm just like, they had a piece of a slave ship in there. They had like all these different artifacts and things like that. And I'm just like, oh, one thing that blew my mind, it's like when you were free and you got your freedom papers, they found like an old like tin container that somebody had made to contain their freedom papers. Like they have all of these different like artifacts in there, and I'm just like, this is wild.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, it's a very, I would say it's kind of a, I don't know if triggering is the right word. I mean, like there are a lot of like parts of the museum that are very like, really like, get to you. But like the appreciation for them finding all this information and putting it in a place where it's like protected for people to reflect on history and remember the stuff that people had gone through was just so good.
So
That's such a good museum.
Smithsonian?
The African American History Museum. Have you been to DC? You've been to DC, right?
I've been to DC, but I think I haven't been there since that. Was that the right? When did that one open? It was
during Obama's time.
There was like a Black culture museum that had opened up, a prominent one, since I had been there.
Yeah.
I just double checked, but yeah, Marcus Garvey was a Black nationalist, and he advocated for something called the Back to Africa movement. Garvey envisioned a mass migration of African descendant people back to Africa to build a sovereign nation, and Liberia was basically that thing. Unfortunately, Liberia, like, it didn't exactly flourish because a lot of corruption, that sort of thing. But
yeah,
I always thought that was really interesting that they weren't even there. I don't think they're even considered a colony. I think they're actually considered like a founded, but it's just like, yeah,
the more you know.
Yeah. And it's like, after the Civil War, like a bunch of Confederate soldiers moved to like Argentina and Brazil. and like you could just pop up, you can roll up in a random village in like Argentina or Brazil, and it's just like Confederate flags flying everywhere. Everybody's white, but speaking Spanish, and it's just like, what? Yeah,
You
man,
know,
they
there's
exist.
like a huge Liberian population in South Dakota.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, there's a huge in East Sioux Falls on the east
Hell
side.
yeah.
There's maybe it's changed now, but from the time that like I had my sister and them lived there, and when I would be there with my family, east side of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, there's a lot of Liberians. Wild.
I don't know anything about Liberian culture. That's the only thing I really know about
I
Liberia.
don't know too much either,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah, Liberian Somalians. There's a huge like diverse population there because of the meat packing plants up there. A lot of people work there or worked there. I don't know. It's probably changed now, but from what I remember, a lot of people worked at John Morrell
Is that a
meat
what's
packing
that
plant.
again?
John Morrell.
Yeah, I want to say that there is a decent population of Somalians in
That too.
somewhere in
Or them too.
I don't think it's Schuyler. Maybe it's Schuyler, Nebraska. There's a meat packing plant there.
Mhm.
Oh man, I got some friends who lived out there before you know they immigrated here to work in those plants and stuff. Oh, you want to talk about white flight, man? They were just scared, and it was just like, well, why are you scared? Well, you know,
this just
because
circles back to immigrants too. It's just like these are jobs that most people wouldn't take. So when people complain that immigrants are taking our jobs, are they taking people's like kids' scholarships at Harvard? Are they taking people's like high level executive jobs at like Google or Apple? No, they're not.
right.
They're
I
working for
mean,
roofing companies and pouring concrete and doing the meat packing plant that people
for
won't
sure,
do.
for sure. In the meatpacking industry, I mean, meatpacking plants are. There are like 7 jobs the kids cannot do. They're so dangerous, right? I can't remember all 7, but one of them is like roofing. The other one's like coal mining.
Mhm.
Meatpacking plant is one of them, and there's a couple other more. And it's just like that should let you know how difficult that job is. Is they're like, hey, this job so difficult, we're not gonna let any kids work under any circumstances.
Well, there's some jobs like I just. So when you say kids, what are you talking about?
I'm like 16 and under.
Okay, so you're talking okay. Yeah, I mean like some of them what you got to be like what 19 or 18, 19, 20, 21 some jobs to work.
Some jobs, yeah. But no, I just it sucks because I come from a rural conservative world,
Mhm.
and I have friends who just get scared when a brown person moves in next door. And it's just like,
What's
how
their
do
reasoning?
you come on?
No, what
We've-
do they tell you is what I'm trying to what I'm asking.
Oh, they'll say some shit like crime. Oh no, crime. Everybody moved out because of crime. And it's just like, really? Crime? Is that
Okay, this is the other question that I have. When they talk about immigrants committing all these crimes, how come we're not hearing about all these crimes?
exactly? I don't know, man. It's so hard to like. I can't even convince them that everybody should get Medicare. Like, it's like, how am I going to convince them that? I don't know. I just honestly, sometimes I think in my life I've seen a bunch of scared white people cause problems,
Mhm.
and like, oh look, a problem happened. It's like, yeah, it's because of your behavior. You put somebody on the defensive. This is why this conflict happened.
Sure.
But in the end, they're not going to see it that way. They're just going to be like, oh, you know, I interacted with them a little bit, and then they lost their minds. No, it's so, you know, what I'm trying to say is I'm kind of a little ashamed of where I grew up, because it's just like, seriously, y'all, seriously, oh, we all moved out of that town because same thing, like if you like, I don't know, like I know my friends are made uncomfortable by gay and trans people.
Mhm.
And there's part of me that just tries to have like a little rhetorical kind of semi-serious jest when I say like, "Yeah, you never know, your kid might have been born gay or trans," and then just
I
oh, like, oh, don't say that, and it's just like, I can't, I don't know, I can't resist it, because it's just like, how can somebody think that way? You know, the only thing I would worry about if my kid were born trans or gay is like, I'd really hope the world isn't terrible to them. That's the only thing I'd be worried about. But anyways, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like these people in rural Nebraska, it's so ironic because they're always talking about how rural America is dying, and it's like, you know who's keeping rural towns alive? Immigrants. Immigrants. They're the ones who are keeping your small rural towns alive. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing too. I think that like once these towns, well, they're already kind of like drying up. I mean, it's what's that one place in Ohio? In Springfield, Ohio, prime
Springfield,
example.
Ohio.
They did not have people. What was this? The CEO of a factory up there talking about, they came in, they show up for work on time. They come in when we ask them to. They put in overtime. They're happy to come to work. They're excited to come to work. They work really good. They follow the rules, regulations. They're great employees to have. Like, these are the employees that you want to have. So they
Yeah.
come in, treat the job respectfully. They take it extremely seriously. They're proud and happy to be there. And then he's like, you get these people off the street. He probably didn't say this if I'm not remembering correctly, but he's like,
Mhm.
but it's hard to find that. It's hard
Yeah.
to find that.
It's
They
one
go
of
to
those
church
things.
on Sundays, they go ahead.
My grandfather would talk about the immigrant mentality, and it's something that I think anybody could really, even if you're not an immigrant, you could like. It's just this mentality. When you move to a new place, you're just grateful for the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, I don't care I want to be here. I want to be here. I came here. I'll work whatever job. I'll work as hard as I can because I want to be here. You know,
Do you have some people
this
telling me still to go back to Africa?
Jesus, man.
Ain't that crazy?
I don't know. You could tell them go back to East England.
But okay, I mean, like, I'll tell you, like, Guillermo.
Oh, we have somebody nice. Just not just us two. How you doing, Guillermo? Oh, I keep trying.
Yeah. People tell me to go back to Africa. People talk about how dark my skin tone is. Yeah. All the time. Ain't that crazy?
So, proper English. What are the origins? I just reminds me of something. Have you ever heard of Ebonics? Ebonics, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
The more academic way of putting it would be African American vernacular English, right?
Yeah, and the only reason why I chuckled is I remember Candace Owens like going off about that. I feel like you gotta get somebody to talk to us in Ebonics. I just remember like this wild Candace Owens rant about that. But okay, go ahead.
So it comes from England, like England, like people, they talk like me ma is coming down and I be down at the pier,
Yeah,
That's where
about
Ebonics came from. Yeah, that's where Ebonics came from.
Seriously?
People want to be like, oh, that ghetto speak, and it's like that ghetto speak came from white folks, lower class white
Yo,
folks. in
okay,
England.
that's another thing. I get like when I speak to people, for some reason it blows their mind that I speak the way I speak. I don't get it, right? But like people be like, "Oh, you sound white or you're acting white." So when people see me, they're surprised but I can articulate the way that I articulate.
What, like you can enunciate or something?
Yeah, I mean, like I remember one guy was like, "Oh, you must have been here for a while. You speak English very well." I was like, I was born here."
I was born here. Man, sometimes when I ask somebody where they're from, I have to like I know you're from the United States. I'm just asking you, were you born here in Lincoln? Were you born and raised here?
Oh, like people like, "Where are you from?" Nebraska? Well, where are you really from? St. Louis? But where for real though? Africa? It's so wild. And the thing too is like you've seen people get mad when people speak with an accent and
Yeah.
profile them because of that and like, treat them crappy because they speak with an accent. But then it's like when you speak perfect English, it's also a problem. Oh, I didn't know you'd sound like that.
Dude,
You
my
must have
friends
been here
from
for a while.
My friends from England make fun of me for how we enunciate. Like we parse out the full word apparently. Like we say the full word clearly, and apparently
Can I
that's
get a glass of water instead of can I get a glass of water?
"Wha Obama." It's just like apparently I'm the weird one.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Kidding.
Can I get a proper spot of tea? And it's I know I'm not doing a
It's
very good English
tea.
accent, but it's just I'm trying to make fun of you. So don't. But
Listen, I love our friends over across the pond in England. However, I know how to speak in a posh British accent.
all right, I'll work on it.
This is how I talk every time I go to Western Nebraska or rural Nebraska. Anytime I'm outside of Lincoln or Omaha. Hello. I'd like to get the chicken tenders with some fries and a side of barbecue and ranch as well. Oh, what would you like to drink? Oh, I think I would like do you have strawberry lemonade? I love the way Americans make strawberry lemonade. Oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm actually from London. Yeah,
She's
I'm
from
from
Lincoln,
London.
Nebraska.
But I came here for uni and I have family that lives here, so I decided to stay for a little bit. And yeah, I really enjoy Nebraska. I really love the culture here.
You've
This
done that. I mean, it might have actually been.
this is the way I talk, and they'd be like, "Oh, have a safe trip back to London when you go home."
You
Thank
might
you,
have. You
thank
might have
you. Though.
actually. I mean, American can't tell anything when it comes to English accent. You know what I'm saying? But
Dude, we're
you might have done
crazy.
yourself. The people might have been like, "Oh, he's an interesting guy." Yeah,
No,
harmless.
look at
But
that posh British man.
yeah, I always thought that was. I always thought that was. So I
Oh,
wait, to
wait, wait,
school.
wait, wait, really quick
Go
before we
ahead.
move on from the accents. Have you seen The Boys?
Yeah,
The guy What's his name again? How do I forget his name? Butcher.
Butcher. Yeah,
Butcher from
Australian accents just seem so made up.
It's not Australian. That's a British accent. It's like I never know what you're saying. He
Oh, I
doesn't
thought it
speak in an
was.
Australian accent. Okay, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just saying, it's always kind of blew my mind. I went to a school that was like, where like white was the vast minority, right? It was a majority black school, probably like super majority black school.
Mhm.
Dunbar Middle School, Lubbock, Texas. Shout out. I got into a lot of fights there. Anyways, they would
Tom.
talk about, they would talk about like something called Blackanese, and I was like, wait, what's that? And it's just like, well, it's how black people speak or something like that, I guess. And I just thought, is that really a thing? And then apparently, no, it's not. But Ebonics, I learned later, Ebonics is not it's not like black origin, even though it's like considered like this improper, uneducated thing. It's like, that came from white people. Yep. It's like all the stereotypes. It's like, it started with us. Great. Yep. That makes sense.
Well, you know what also blew my mind? Beyonce's NFL performance. We talked about it on the recorded episode the other day. Oh man,
Yeah.
that performance was fire. It was fire. She did not get nominated for a single CMA award. For a single CMA award. But guess what? Her
Oh, yeah?
halftime performance had 7 million more viewers than the CMAs did.
That's so funny. You're
And I'm
mad
talking
that
about
somebody
people
didn't get a country music award?
Well, so let's say objectively listening to that album, that was a really good album. There's some songs on there that are so deserving of an award, a CMA. Same thing with like the Grammys too. Like the Grammys, I think operate off of just like 100% like the numbers, pure numbers. Did your whatever record outperform everybody else in this category? Right? If you have 5 people nominated and the most, let's say you got one person got 1 million streams, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, the person who got like 5 million downloads or whatever or hits, boom, you win that award because you obviously got the most numbers. But something lately is not sounding right about how that is.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think that you have to like have a certain amount of people believe that your music is actually country music, which is pretty funny because modern country is terrible these days. No, it's just the people who get to vote on CMA awards. Yeah, there's like a few thousand voters.
So what would they say that album is then, if not a country album?
well, whatever they want. I mean, it's subjective, but collectively, that's the people who get to decide what kind of country music is. But here's the interesting thing about it. What I would call country today is like a pop country. Like I grew up with like Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash,
Mhm.
But then like I'm just gonna go. This is gonna be a very brave thing for me to say, but Garth Brooks ruined country music.
Dang.
He
Yeah,
turned it all into
kinda
that
bad to
poppy stuff.
say that out
Like,
of a stream coming out of Nebraska since
listen,
he packed that stadium down the road.
no, no. I mean, that's another. That two things can be true. The most successful arena tour artist of all time. That guy's packing
Okay.
stadiums.
So,
He ruined
let's look at
country
this
though.
guy. Let's look at this guy, right? Shabuzi. Always been a straight country artist, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't win a single CMA.
Did he get nominated?
Nominated in 4 categories, didn't win a single one. And I'm just like, yo, that bar song was a hit. Like that one was a hit. You know what I'm saying? Like he at least deserved it because he's put out a lot of different like country music or records. What up, Guillermo? How you doing?
I don't know who you're pimp slapping somebody in countryside or something. I don't know what's going on over there.
So
What beat we talking
I'm
about?
upset that Shabuzi did not win a CMA award. You know that song, the bar song? Everybody have to go get history. Yeah, didn't win a single CMA award.
Did it get
Well,
nominated?
He got nominated in like 4 categories, but didn't win a single one.
Oh yeah.
all black artists always get nominated, but they never get awarded. And
Tell me
that's
why
you.
Beyonce is the most decorated Grammy Award winning artist,
Darius Rucker won
but has never won in a major category. You mean to tell me Beyonce has never won Album of the Year?
Do you know who Darius Rucker is?
Darius Rucker?
Darius. I don't know.
Yeah,
Who do you
Darius
think
Rucker.
is?
I know that dude.
Didn't he get a CMA?
Heading down south to the land of the pines.
That is
on
not
my
his
way to
song.
North
He
Carolina.
won a Grammy for that, but that is not his
And I
song.
gotta see headlights.
That was a cover. He was doing a
Made it
cover.
down the coast in 17 hours.
You don't want to hear it,
Taking
do
me
you?
a bouquet. Listen, he took that song and turned it into a Grammy Award winning song. Same thing with I Will Always Love You. That was a Dolly Parton song, but you know who took it to the next level? Whitney Houston.
Dude, he did not take Wagon Wheel to the next level. Oak Crow Medicine Show had the best version. It's just so happened
just let it be.
They were folk artists. He
let it
took a
be.
folk song and turned it into poppy country. And listen, it's a good
That
song.
was not poppy country. Okay,
it
define
was.
poppy country, because I think you're thinking of pop music as in like Olivia
No.
Rodrigo and those kind of pop artists.
I
Well,
want to
mean,
know what
yeah,
pop country is. What is
Yeah.
that? I need to know. Now I
Florida Georgia
need to
Line.
know.
What's that one? That one song.
Okay,
Cruise.
okay, that is not the same as Wagon Wheel. That is not the same as Wagon Wheel.
Well, listen, when I compare the original Wagon Wheel to Darius Rucker's Wagon Wheel, I'm hearing pop. I'm hearing folk go to
No.
a poppy kind of country.
No.
Well, I'll take you to a folk show. We'll ask. You
No.
know.
No. Okay, so but I'm talking about, you said it's not like actual country music. When you play that song, what do you hear? You hear freaking you hear guitar? Do you hear drums in that? And what is that? A harmonica. That's what you hear.
Wagon Wheel?
Yes.
I mean, I hear fiddle. There's no drums.
And a fiddle too. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. So when you say country, I'm thinking when you say pop in like Florida Georgia Line and like that Nelly song too that they did, like there are elements of instruments that are poppy for more so in pop music that are not present in Wagon Wheel.
Wait, no, I mean, listen, first of all, what makes something pop in country is probably subjective. I mean, can we agree on that?
So then why are you trying to say that's what it is?
When I grew up, what was country?
Guillermo, are you hearing this?
All right. Well, do you think Waylon Jennings is anything like Darius Rucker?
All right,
You know?
I'm wearing this horrible hat. That was my
But that's
ex-boyfriend. But I don't want to show my hair. So what we were talking about is because I lost my other hats and my hair's a mess. So what we were talking about, I don't like this hat, trust me. But I'm not gonna go on the show with my bird's nest. So nope. You get this hat.
I mean, you ever listen to the Carter family? Like, no, June Carter Cash, Johnny Cash.
Oh,
Yeah, what about Johnny Cash? What's up?
I mean, that's country to me. Patsy
That's-
Cline.
That's old
know?
country. That's considered old country now.
Oh, what's
Because
that
I
one
like
guy
that kind of country.
somebody said Jazari's gonna die on this hill, Tommy. Just give it to him. LOL. Yeah. I'm gonna die on this hill.
I'm sorry, man. You are not gonna tell me that Darius
I'm
Rucker's
telling you.
Wagon Wheel is
I'm
anything
telling you.
like
I'm
I
telling
don't
you.
know.
Willie Nelson, I get where you're coming from. I agree with you, but it's
Okay.
considered old country now. It's
It's
like we're old.
Okay, let's look
mean,
at it from this
okay.
point. Rock, right? Like there's like a new rock and there's like an old rock.
Sure.
So somebody could listen to Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts album and be like, this is not real rock. Because they're comparing it to like who's a huge prominent rock artist that you listen to from like classic rock.
Classic rock, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd.
Exactly.
Pink Floyd's
right?
psychedelic rock. Led Zeppelin's like what would used to be considered like metal music, and then
Listen,
there's heavy
tomato
metal music, and there's thrash metal, and then there's death metal, metalcore. No, listen, country music doesn't have the same variety like rock and roll does. Rock and roll is just like there's so many subgenres of rock and roll, but country music never gets that distinction. It's just always country music. It doesn't matter what era it is. People just call it country music, and it's just like no. Today's country.
I don't think. I think there's like.
I need to come up with the terminology. Let me look up the terminology.
Yeah, you look up that terminology because I'm not letting this go.
Okay,
Darius
so there was. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just looking up. So there was early country. Yeah, I am like you do. So apparently there was early country, 1920 to 1930s. What was I used to? Where are we? There was 1940s to 1950s.
Okay, let's look at it this
Outlaw
way.
country. That's what it was.
Who did I? Yeah. I just went and watched Wynonna Judd, right?
Oh yeah.
So what would you categorize her as?
She probably wasn't like outlaw country. I don't know. What's one of her most famous songs?
I'm terrible at music, so give me music. I gotta hear it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's who it is.
Okay, so I grew up with outlaw country, what is known as outlaw country, and that's like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, that sort of thing. Johnny Cash,
Love Is Alive.
You're giving it a cooler twist.
Why not me?
You know that's the oldie station.
Grandpa, tell me about the good old days, right?
That's what it is. I'm sorry, I love it too, but that's what it is. I love it.
Where would Wynonna Judd be classified? Solo artist, neo-traditional era, 1980s to 1990s.
See, okay, that's the thing. Like arguing
that's crazy. I've never.
So, like, what about R&B? People could say, "Oh, 90s R&B, 80s R&B, early 2000s R&B, 2010s R&B."
I'm just saying, if you're getting a CMA award
today, R&B stands for,
Tommy,
most people don't even know what R&B stands for.
I do.
All right, what's it stand for?
Rhythm and blues, baby.
Oh shit! Yeah, I was waiting for that. So I've met some people and they're like, "Who did what?"
No, rhythm and blues, like that's came from like like blues music, yeah.
Indian pop, modern country. Okay,
I've never
heard of.
Hold on, someone said
country. Go ahead.
I think evolution happens in all genres across the board: country, rock, rap, etc. Right? Because I feel like when you are a music artist like that, like you have to like create different versions of yourself. Like Taylor Swift, like her country albums, I feel like not all of them were the exact like same. Like there was an evolution to it. You know what I'm saying? So she went into that genre, like, lit it up, and then crossed over to pop and like literally destroyed the charts with 1989. That was a good record.
She was always pop. She was always pop country. What people would refer to today, I guess, as modern country.
No, I think
I want to reframe something. I want to reframe something. Let me reframe something. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say.
You're getting a little close to the mic. You're getting a little close to the mic.
No. No, what I'm trying to say is country doesn't get all this distinguished like classifications as like rock does. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Does that make any sense? Okay, so like when it comes to rock and roll, there's rock and roll, there's heavy metal, there's thrash metal, there's speed metal. Like death metal, black metal, there's emo, there's all the
screamo.
Screamo, yeah, that's and country is as diverse, right? I want to say it's as diverse, but who knows? But we don't attach enough like classifications to it. So like I grew up with something called outlaw country. And then apparently Winona Judd, and I don't know if this is accurate or anything like that, but apparently she's a part of the neo-traditional country boom. And I would just call that like some of the figures.
Okay. I got this. I'm about to win this argument. I'm about to win this because listen to this because you talked about outlaw country, right? All right, and neo-traditional. Let's talk about Western swing, Americana, country rock, bluegrass, honky tonk.
Yeah, I'm saying that country doesn't get I mean, like people are more aware of like the different genres of rock and roll, but country is seen more as this like monolithic thing. But I would call country
because people talk about honky tonk, swing country.
Yeah, but see what gets awards at the CMA today would not have gotten awards at the CMAs 20 years ago. You're still getting that at the Grammys, though. You have a medal.
No, what would win an MTV award 20 years ago isn't what would win this year now.
No, what I'm saying is at the Grammys there is a metal music rock and roll category.
Okay, you're talking about okay.
Yeah, so like I don't know why that seems a little inconsistent, but like I'm saying there isn't at the CMAs there isn't like a category for outlaw country, there isn't a category for modern country or this new one neo-traditional country or whatever, right? It's just country. It's a country music award. That's basically who gets to decide what country music is, and I'm saying it's not a monolith.
Listen, we can agree to disagree.
Because what I call country and what you call country are two
look at this.
things.
People are seeing in real time the disagreements Tommy and I have. Like we had a whole argument in the office the other day
about Beyonce.
That and like other things too, protesting in the Capitol. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that argument you were wrong about. It's more like I was telling you that you can't have disorderly conduct in public because that's actually illegal. But
what is disorderly conduct?
I mean, so it's when you're in a public space and you're disrupting the peace, whatever you want to call it. Do you want me to like give you a definition? Like you can't go into a place and make somebody feel unsafe with hostile behavior, disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct.
Agree with that. I'm so sorry.
You disagree with the definition of disorderly conduct?
When you talk about hostile go ahead, Guillermo. You talk.
Oh, well, the problem is it's like, are they causing a problem? No, they're not hurting anybody. Are they a nuisance? Yes. They have the right, the First Amendment right to express themselves. As much as I would dislike them not to be there, they're going to be there. That's their right to be there as long as they're not hurting anybody.
Are we talking about
nobody's hurt? Oh, we can talk about the protest. It's protesting at the Capitol. Yeah, generally speaking, and it depends on the context of the situation, like you're saying. Like you can't just scream fire or bomb at an airplane area, an airport, or a theater. There's going to be regulations and limitations to the First Amendment right, and I always view it that way. I dislike it. Do I like the KKK? If I made cakes, I make them a cake. I hate them, but I would sell them that goddamn fucking cake, and I wouldn't give a shit. But that's me. That's who I am. I mean, I can't express anybody else to do that stuff like me. But
so we're just to make sure we're talking about the tree lighting ceremony where those I don't even know what they want to call themselves. I guess you could just say Nebraska for Palestine. You're talking
Tommy,
about
you're too close to the mic, Tommy.
Sorry. When I'm in the studio, I'm not close enough, and when I'm not, does this sound fine?
Yes.
So you're talking just so I got you correctly, right, Guillermo? You're talking about the I guess Gaza protesters at the tree lighting ceremony. Yeah, correct. So I mean, you do have a right to protest. You do have a right to protest. It is a First Amendment right, but you don't have a right to disorderly conduct. You don't have a right to traumatize kids with provocative behavior like that. I mean, you can't.
But everything is traumatizing, right? So like, Okay,
Right?
so what about like where was that place? I feel like it was it in Ohio or wherever. You had those people who were marching down with what like masks screaming obscenities, screaming like racial things and stuff like that. Do you remember that recently happened?
In Ohio?
Not Ohio. It's kind of just in that general area, I think. Um
No, but if their behavior was being disorderly conduct and they were basically scaring a
yeah,
bunch of
Columbus,
kids or
Ohio.
provoking interference.
Neo-Nazis demonstrate waving swastikas, bellowing slurs or racial
Okay.
slurs. Right?
In the
Like
middle of a tree lighting ceremony in front of a bunch of kids
but
choirs or
on the street. They're
I
walking
know
down the street where
it's
people could see.
unethical, unprofessional, and it doesn't look good. But it's their choice as Americans to express their freedom. If they want to make fools out of themselves, they can.
that's not
If
no.
it's not our responsibility to tell people how to express themselves. It's not.
Dude, no, express yourself all you want, but there is such a thing as disturbing the peace. It's an actual legal thing. There is disorderly conduct.
Laws
And
were put in place to make sure people did not protest, specifically those of minority colors, and I know that for a fact.
Sure, but this is not when you're at a tree lighting ceremony with kids and stuff like that, and you're going around and being disorderly and disturbing the peace. You don't have a right to that. And if you're
Okay, Tommy, let me ask you this question. You know how they always have fourth graders at the Capitol? So if people were protesting a piece of legislation while there was a fourth grade class touring the Capitol, that would technically fall under your thing. Like, oh, because these kids are present, you can't behave this way.
No. Okay, let's stay on the one topic we're talking about. The one
No,
event.
No. Because we can't just isolate it to that one thing. Because if you
Yes,
can't,
I can. I'm talking about one event, one-off event. I'm not talking about any other scenarios.
Okay, so are you saying that during specific events they can stop people? Like, you do not have a right to be there and protest in this specific
Not saying
event?
that. No, I'm
So
talking
what are you
about
saying, Tommy?
at the tree lighting ceremony.
No, that's
you
what
are
that,
not allowed to be disorderly. You can't make people feel scared through provocative action. You can't just do that.
That's literally what I just said. So you're saying during specific events, such as a tree lighting ceremony.
All I know,
no, I'm saying
that the right to say what they want about us and tell us
say whatever you want. I don't care, but you can't tell somebody
vanities about women and rateful things against Senator Julie Slama, which I remember, and she's a Republican, by the way, and they can get away with that. And you're worried about the Gaza protesters.
No, I can say that's wrong, and I can say that's wrong, and I didn't say
lawmakers can get away with it. Why can't the people who put them say what they want?
No, nobody should get away with it.
Okay, hold on. Let's bring the temp down. Tommy, what I'm asking you, okay?
What?
Because you Tommy, what I'm asking you is you said so what I'm pretty much asking is, do you think at specific events that are being held in the Capitol, there should be no opportunity to protest?
What? No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, so but you were saying that it was not right for them to be at that tree lighting ceremony.
Listen, I am looking at one single event where I could see somebody's behavior and I can give you an opinion on that, right? And why were they being removed? Because they were disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct. They weren't being removed against their rights. Otherwise, you'd see the ACLU suing somebody over it.
Okay, but here's the question then. If you are protesting an event that's happening, then you are technically always disturbing the peace.
Why are you protesting a tree lighting ceremony?
No. Like, take away the tree lighting ceremony. Say they had like a freaking like cotton candy machine and they were handing out cotton candy to people, like, or ice cream, or the waffle man was there, right? Let's say it was a specific event that was taking place in the rotunda and there were people protesting. Let's say they were protesting that they wanted to be able to go whale fishing in Nebraska because that's an actual law that you can't whale fish in Nebraska. So let's say during the Waffle Man at the Capitol in the Rotunda doing a fundraiser and people are protesting because they want to be able to whale fish in Nebraska. You are saying that they should not be able to do that because they're disturbing the peace of whatever else is going on.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is look at
but
this.
That's what we're interpreting it as. That's what we're
I'm sorry you're interpreting that way. I'm looking at what an unruly group of people did in a shared space. They made people feel unsafe. They scared a bunch of kids. And they protested something that had nothing to do with Gaza. There's nothing they could have achieved that night there that would have gotten anything they wanted in terms of like an arms embargo or
okay, let's say this. What if they were protesting because they wanted to go whale fishing in Nebraska?
Well, would you still don't have a right to disorderly conduct in
you would still
like that. You do know that a bunch of kids felt scared, right?
Tommy, okay. I understand where you're focusing on like the kids aspect. I get it. I understand like where that's coming from. But what I'm saying is like, I don't even know because I'm not even like a part of that. I don't even like.
No, you're trying to argue for people that aren't here. Like, and that's
no,
why
it's no. It's not that I'm trying to argue for people that's here. I'm just trying to like look at it.
Not here.
Let's say, or not here. Let's say that I'm just trying to look at this from like a different perspective too. Like, could this apply to every other situation? So I'm trying to like look at it analytically like that, like what you're saying. So that's why I gave you the example. If there were people protesting that they wanted to go whale fishing in Nebraska during this tree lighting ceremony, would you still have the same energy toward that?
Were they being like really aggressive in like to people who were going to a tree lighting ceremony?
So I wouldn't
up in people's faces, yelling at them and stuff, like getting near their kids.
Okay, so from what I saw, I did not see people getting into people's faces. I saw people shouting out into the space. I didn't see somebody going up to somebody's face and like, you know, like trying to like, you know, square up with somebody. I didn't see that.
Well, I didn't say square up, but like you don't have to square up to somebody.
No, but what I'm saying is like, but you're saying getting in people's face. I don't think people like standing around shouting is getting into people's face. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, but like if you look at the videos and look how they were behaving, and you talk to people who went there,
okay, but that's different. That's different than saying getting in someone's face. Because when you say getting in someone's face, that means you're ready to like throw hands. So
listen, you don't have to get in my face to make me feel like you're threatening me. Okay,
but
if you come near my kid yelling and screaming and all that other stuff like that, I'm not going to go, well, they're just peacefully protesting.
Okay, but what I'm saying,
that
Tommy,
was not peaceful protest.
Getting in someone's face is this. Getting in someone's face is getting in someone's face.
Do I have
yelling and screaming and protesting in the middle or midst of an event?
It wasn't protesting. It was not protesting.
Okay, screaming in the middle of an event or whatever.
Disorderly conduct in the middle of an event that's happening in a shared space. That's what it was.
But don't mislabel it and say people were getting in people's faces.
I mean, fine if we got to go with arguing about semantics or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say
is not a semantic, Tommy. That's like a real thing.
Yes,
because I feel like getting in someone's space and invading their space, then you are really trying to provoke somebody to defend themselves. That's when somebody really does feel threatened for their safety.
Those people did feel threatened for their safety. Those people were being aggressive.
Do you know what that sounds? Okay, this sounds like who's that lady? Amy Schumer, when Will Smith smacked the fuck out of Chris Rock, and Amy Schumer was like, "I felt threatened. My safety felt threatened." She was sitting there watching this event happen and felt that she felt unsafe because
I don't care about Amy Schumer.
But what I'm saying is like if somebody is sitting across the way. And say,
they were right in front of the kids. They were right in front of the kids. They were being belligerent in front of they were right there. Did you not see that video?
I did see the video.
There were kids everywhere, and they were feeling traumatized.
Okay, so if there were no kids, would it be okay?
No, because you're still making other people feel threatened. And I'm sorry, this isn't Amy Schumer from across the. What are you talking about?
Okay, so if people were protesting on the steps of the Capitol and people walked by. Would you say the same thing? They felt threatened.
You do know disorderly conduct is actually something that is defined.
No. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, Tommy. Go ahead, Guillermo. Go ahead. Sorry, Guillermo. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to know what the threat is. That's you keep saying the word threat, and I want to know what the threat is. What is the threat? What is the threat towards the children or adults? What is the threat?
Belligerent behavior in front of a group of kids for something that is completely irrelevant and benign.
They're not intoxicated, so
I said belligerent behavior. Belligerent, aggressive, shouting behavior, all that other stuff that could. I mean, you get near my kid acting like that,
Okay,
I'm not going to feel good about
Okay,
that.
so 1 second. I have one more question. Can you define the definition of protest? I don't know who can give me the true definition of protest.
Well,
'Cause
I would just want to know that you do know that disorderly conduct is something that is illegal, right? It is
people
defined.
just
You
so
can be cited
people,
for disorderly
and
conduct,
that's fine. They
and
took
that's what
that
they were
right.
doing.
That's fine. It's what the risk they took with the First Amendment right, and that's what I want you to understand. You can go say fire at a theater, but there's going to be consequences behind that tone of things. There's always a rule of law behind every freedom of speech you have in America. It's always been that way. I don't like it either. I wish they would have been a little further away, maybe, but they have a right to protest. I've been protested, so I don't know
Yeah,
what
you
to
have a
say.
right to protest, but what they were doing was disorderly conduct. It was not protest. It's not something that I'm going to
So
compare
okay,
to. I'm not. It's something can I just finish my thought? It's not something I'm going to compare to sit-ins during the civil rights. That was not what that was. It was disorderly conduct. It's why they got removed. It's why no police officers are getting sued for it, because what they were doing was breaking the law. They
In what
were
way? What was the threat?
disorderly conduct. Like,
okay, but
Well,
somebody
I'm not just
yelling at
making this
but
up.
okay, but somebody I didn't see anybody carrying anything. Okay, so when you say threat, I didn't see anybody carrying any weapons. I didn't see anybody getting in people's faces, as you said. I saw people walk.
Listen.
Hold on, no. I let you finish. I saw people walking around yelling and screaming. Okay, but you keep going back to my kid. If this happened, I understand where you're coming from as a parent because you keep referencing that. You keep saying, "Oh, if somebody did that to in front of my kid," but what I'm saying is like, even though like you don't like it, we don't like the behavior or things like that. Like, we can't say that's not okay for them to do because my kid was there.
I can say disorderly conduct is not okay. Like it is disorderly conduct. It's why they were removed by the cops. It's why people do get arrested at actual protests because they did something they weren't supposed to do. If you block, I mean, it could be something as benign as blocking a sidewalk. Do you understand that you can't block a sidewalk?
It's like you're making protesting illegal. You're making the
No,
first.
I'm not.
Okay, so
have
Tommy, let me ask you this question: How would the right way? How would they correctly do this then?
I don't know, but you don't resort to disorderly conduct and call it protest. Like listen, I am not trying to say that you don't have the right to protest. I'm just saying what they did at that tree lighting ceremony was not protest. You actually have to follow some rules. You can't just be completely belligerent in public, which is what they were doing.
Okay, but that's also subjective too.
One last thing. Like, what does a tree lighting ceremony have to do with getting an arms embargo at a tree lighting ceremony at the state capital of Nebraska?
So the thing I've been trying to do is strip away what the event was, right? I tried to give examples of like,
no, it matters. The context matters.
Okay, so a tree lighting ceremony is more important than the Waffle Man doing a fundraising in the rotunda?
No, I'm saying it's something that's benign and unrelated to the topic of protest. All right?
No.
It
is because I was saying, what did I say? Didn't I say, Guillermo, if the Waffle Man was making waffles or a fourth grade class was touring the Capitol and there was a protest happening, right, about whale fishing in Nebraska? I'm trying, like, you keep focusing
on these hypotheticals. I'm talking about a single event. I'm giving you an opinion on an event. An actual event.
You're getting too close to the mic. You get too close to the mic. But what I'm saying, like, okay, hold on really quick, because you keep talking about hypotheticals. Like, when people argue court cases, right, they give hypothetical situations to see how this would apply in a specific situation.
I'm not in court. Like, I'm just telling you, let's look at that one event.
We're not gonna. Okay, so that's the thing. Let's say if you are arguing something in court, you have to see how it applies to different situations.
I'm just looking at one event and saying these people behaved civil infraction, disorderly conduct. What if you went to ask those cops, why were they removed? Why isn't somebody getting sued for violating First Amendment rights? It's because they were committing a civil infraction, otherwise known as disorderly conduct. Like, it's an actual it's a legal definition. Like, yeah, of course you have a right to protest. If there were people doing like a candlelight vigil or something like that, by all means, but you can't go in there and be provocative, make people feel threatened, especially in front of their kids. A bunch of kids just looking around going, oh my God, what the hell's happening? And not to mention, like, okay, let's not even debate like whether they're allowed to do that. What did they accomplish?
I'm not focusing. I'm not focusing.
I have the answer. I have the answer.
Wait, hold on. I'm not focusing on the topic. I'm not focusing on the event. I'm focusing on what the actions were. Okay? Because
disorderly conduct is what it was. It wasn't protest. What you saw, that was not protest. That was disruptive, disorderly conduct.
Tommy, this country has a huge.
Like Guillermo.
Freaking sets precedence to future protests that they can remove people like that. And people with guns have gone in the state legislature before, and I've been there going against legislation against guns, against people with guns in the legislature. So I felt threatened, but I did nothing about it. I said nothing about it. I did not oppose them. If they want to have the right to come in and protest with guns, I couldn't stop them. I couldn't.
I've carried guns in the legislature.
Okay,
before,
but see, that's okay. Let's say if there was a Black Lives Matter protest happening in the Rotunda or an event or something like that for Black Lives Matter in the Rotunda, and you have a whole bunch of other people who come to counter protest or to come disrupt that event carrying AR-15s walking around. Would you say that would be okay for them to do? Because they're also threatening people.
So we've talked about this, right? And I was telling you why I don't open carry. Right? Do you remember that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Is why, because some people in the past have used guns.
So would it be okay? Would you consider that disorderly conduct and people feeling threatened and need to be removed?
Okay, so listen. What I'm trying to say is,
word of history: they were never removed from the freaking Capitol. They were right next to me in an elevator, and I have a picture. So that tells you everything.
I didn't say anybody was removed besides those disorderly people, but
no, he's saying they weren't removed.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? If I open carry, like I would hope nobody would feel nervous, but I do know in plenty of liberals who, if they just see a gun, doesn't matter the context, they are going to feel unnerved, right? So that's why I don't open carry. If somebody is I guess in your hypothetical, there's a Black Lives Matter protest and then a bunch of people are showing up with their guns.
Counter protest with guns, yeah.
Okay. That's it. They're just standing there with guns. They're not saying anything. They're not doing anything.
No, let's say they're saying stuff, and also let's say they're also making. Tommy, that doesn't matter. It's even if they're screaming other things at the top of their lungs and being that's also belligerent behavior parallel to what you were saying.
No, I mean, if they're being belligerent, if they're doing disorderly conduct, they should also be removed too. They should be detained and kicked off or whatever you want to call it. Sure. I mean, like, I think it's pretty easy to if you're carrying a gun to make people feel threatened because of the.
Do you want to know the crazy thing about this? Those people didn't even have guns. They didn't have weapons. They had signs.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the time, well, not most of the time, but a lot of the time, if we're in a public space, I have a gun. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it doesn't mean it doesn't mean
no. But what I'm saying is those. I'm done.
Sure. But listen, like if you use a gun to intimidate, if your whole point is to intimidate somebody, then yeah, like you should. That's not right. You shouldn't do that.
But what I'm saying is, like, you talked about people feeling threatened.
They weren't. Listen. It was disorderly conduct. That's why they were thrown out. It was disorderly conduct. You can't just go shout in front of a kids choir, and like they were literally right there. Sorry, they were literally right there.
Okay, but
in front of kids, being belligerent, just yell.
Okay, that's why I asked you if there were no kids, would it make a difference? Because you keep focusing on the kids aspect.
Well, fine, take the kids out of it. You can still make me feel threatened with provocative behavior if you're in a space like that.
And that is why I gave the example of Amy Schumer saying that she felt scared and threatened when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock on the stage.
Okay, well, what if she did it right next? What if, God, I hate I'm going to this. What if Will Smith was sitting right next to Amy Schumer, or sorry, Chris Rock was sitting right next to Amy Schumer, and Chris Rock comes up or fucking Will Smith comes up and slaps Chris Rock, who is sitting next to Amy Schumer. I don't know why I'm doing this, but you get what I'm saying, right?
No, but I'm trying to look at it in an abstract way, because it's like I'm just trying to understand it from different levels, and that's why I also try to give the example, like, when you argue a court and case or something, like, you have to look at it in like different hypotheticals and things like that. We can't just look at things like, oh, in this situation it's okay, but in this situation it's not. Like, you have to see how it applies to different scenarios.
If somebody was near me yelling, acting belligerent, acting shady, I would feel a little unsafe and I'd be ready to defend myself. You can't do that. You can't go around acting disorderly, disturbing the peace, being aggressive towards people like that. That doesn't mean it's like actual orderly protest.
Okay, that being said, you just told me yourself you felt threatened and you could possibly act out. Wouldn't you think?
No, I would wait.
Wouldn't you think other people next to you feel scared because of a situation you might altercate and create a higher situation?
I feel like, okay, so if we were listen, I only really want to focus on this one event, because the thing is, when you make decisions in life,
we can't just focus on one event.
When you take stances and you make opinions made in life, you had to take things on a case by case situation. Like, I can't come up with some strange hypothetical that I've never thought of. I'm talking about in this situation. If I'm at something like a tree lighting ceremony and I see some people with masks on and stuff going around and start yelling some stuff, and they're around my kids or they're around my family or anything like that, and they're acting disorderly by definition, and I'm feeling like I a little threatening, and like these people might be a little shifty and they might do something, then yeah, they're not invoking their right to protest. The event didn't even have anything to do with Gaza.
An executioner cannot be the law, judge, and executioner of certain situations. You cannot.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And yes, you can, because it happens all the time. Self-defense happens all the time. You want me to, let me put it this way. I had an aunt horribly abused, right? Until one day she decided to cave her abuser's head in. She was not convicted.
That doesn't have anything to do with, like, no, but like you're saying, you want to focus on this specific event. Somebody, hold on, let's read this comment. Real question is whether those types of charges are subjective or objective. They can be used against protesters to silence First Amendment rights.
I agree with that.
So, but what I'm saying, Tommy, is like that's why I tried. That's why I tried to give you the different scenarios that you're saying are just like hypotheticals that are not even like relevant to the situation. If this can, taking on a case-by-case basis, there are rules that like blanket different things. So what I'm saying, would it make a difference if there were no kids? Would it make a difference if they were protesting like whale fishing in Nebraska? Like, just random stuff, because you have to see how this, like, these laws and these rules apply to different situations. You keep talking about, oh, there was a kids choir. Okay, well, what if there wasn't a kids choir? Okay, and you keep talking about, it's because of Gaza. What if it wasn't because of that?
Maybe this will make it better.
You're too close to the mic.
Is it like this? Is this the trick?
Okay, no. Oh, so hold on. The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't know exactly like how this is sounding, and if we like post the audio later, I don't want it to sound like muddy. You know?
Jesus, is that what it sounds like? Okay, let's just let me make it as simple as possible. If you are behaving disorderly, disturbing the peace in public, then yeah, you should not be able to do that. I don't know if I look at those videos.
Respect it, Tommy. That is your belief. I have an opposite belief. I think it sets precedents for protesters to be silenced. It subjects civil rights laws and brings other court altercations that we shouldn't be fighting in today's society. So it just silences basically the people, and I don't like that.
I mean, when we talk about,
they weren't being silenced, they were being disorderly, and they had to be removed from the event.
Tommy, like, that's the way it works. This country has a violent history of like wild protests.
Do not equate these people, these selfish, egotistical people, to the great civil rights leaders.
That's not what I'm doing.
Don't do it. No, you're bringing it in. Oh, they were being violent.
You didn't even let me finish my thought. No, you're making an assumption. I was going to talk about the Boston Tea Party. When they were throwing crates of tea into the ocean, do you think they were protesting by doing a candlelight visual?
That was belligerent, and it was also hypocritical.
They weren't drinking coffee to protest the tea. They were throwing the tea in the water.
It was definitely. Oh, Jesus.
That's what I'm saying.
No. That was disorderly conduct, and it didn't even make any sense. It was hypercritical. If you want to talk about the Boston Tea Party, there's so much
why
into it.
do people look at that like, oh, that was like, you know, it was. Look,
no, I don't. If you really want to get into the hilarious part of what the Boston Tea Party was about,
no, I'm not trying to get into like the nuances of that. I'm just looking at that as an example.
What's the example you're trying to make? I don't understand why a bunch of egotistical.
So why is the Boston Tea Party like a celebrated event when people
it's not celebrated for me? I don't celebrate it. It was pretty hypocritical too, if you knew the full story.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I'm just saying, like, just what it's perceived as.
The people who perceive it that way, they've been given a lot of freaking propaganda, because the American Revolution was a lot more complicated than people are ever taught about. But let me put it this way: these people, these people who were at this tree lighting ceremony are some of the most egotistical, selfish people I've ever had to witness, because they're not getting an arms embargo by protesting something as benign, not even protesting, by being disorderly as something as
again. I don't care about what the situation and the subject is. I'm just trying to apply like it in different perspectives and different scenarios.
I just want to focus on this one, because the thing is like I can't really sit here
and that's the thing. But the thing, Tommy, is I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with what they did. I'm just like I keep saying, I'm trying to look at it from, okay, well, what would it be in this scenario versus that scenario?
Well, listen, the thing is the problem with the hypothetical, especially when you're like throwing it at me, is I'm thinking about one situation, all the variables in place, and then you're just like, well, let me change the variables. And it's just like, you're trying to get me to just give you an emotional response. I'd have to actually think about
I'm not trying to do that.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, you're asking me to not give any thought about something that could literally take me all night to figure out. I could think about it for a long time and I could change. I'm only thinking about the situation that I've been thinking about for weeks. I'm thinking about those variables. I don't want to change. I can give you my opinion on this one event, and that's pretty much it. Like, if you want to change, like, give me a writing prompt or something. Give me some time to think about it. I mean, shit. When I was in speech and debate, like, I actually got like a few minutes to actually try to think.
But this is live, baby. This is live. This is what you talking about. This ain't high school speech and debate, bro. This is live.
I just disagree with the president's sense for other people who want to protest in a public space, and that's the people's space.
Please do. There's nothing more American.
I do not like that. That's where we disagree. That's where I draw the line. It's like flat line with me.
Dane Elliott, candlelight vigils don't work in changing anything. Yeah, go talk to MLK about that. Like, I'm sorry, MLK didn't do disorderly conduct like these people did.
Okay.
They did. Civil disobedience was very common, and somebody always told me to get into good trouble, and I know who that is.
Like these people did. But listen. They didn't go and crash candlelight vigils and act provocative and threatening to people. They didn't do that.
Ask the Black Panther Party how that happened and how they were threatened by the FBI, how they were a threat to our own government for feeding their own communities. Let's talk history about the Black.
Dude, listen. Somebody said you wouldn't say Black Panthers arguing themselves against the state is disorderly. No, it's not. What? Why? Hello?
Oh, sorry. I was researching something. But okay, go ahead. You just read the comment.
No, it's my screen cut out. Or can you still hear me?
Yeah. It keeps muting. You keep muting yourself. Are you pressing something?
My hands are right here, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Listen, you can hear me?
Yes.
Technical difficulties. No, I mean, I'm sorry. They didn't go to something as benign and irrelevant and do shit like that. That's not how MLK did things. That's not how.
But what about things? You keep talking about like that Civil Rights movie. What about like the Stonewall riots or things like that? You don't think that that riot changed anything, or those riots changed anything?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to look into some stuff. I mean, we'd have to have a back and forth.
But because you keep focusing on, and I know it's because you know more about like the civil rights. That's why you keep referencing that. But I don't know. I feel like there are other events or riots that sparked like actual change.
Give me a second. No, there probably is. I just can't think of anything. Dane. I don't know. Like, disorderly is the word of the cops. Like, I mean, it's literally it's literally defined disorderly conduct. He marched and blocked roads and bridges, LMAO.
I mean, you did say that blocking a sidewalk could be disorderly conduct.
I mean, it can be, and like,
and the bridge and Selma and all that. Like,
that's something that really makes me. But I mean, listen.
I'm listening.
If MLK was alive today, do you think this is how we would handle the Gaza situation? No, because he understood you needed allies in Congress. And if you wanted allies in Congress, you needed moderates. And I'm telling you, protest or disorderly conduct beside, none of those people.
They marched, like they said, like Dan Elliott said, they marched and blocked bridges and had the whole 1 million man march. It's not like, yeah, obviously, like, talk to lawmakers and things like that. But I mean, like, you keep saying allies in. So let's say, never mind. I'm not even gonna give you a hypothetical because you say you don't like this.
You can try it, but I might not have an answer for you.
But what I'm saying is, let's say the intersection down the street.
82 down.
Let's say the intersection down the street from my house is dangerous, and I stand out there with the sign.
The other side.
So he's just. Can you just mute him? I think he's having a background conversation. But no, I mean, like, and sorry, no, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's say. Hello? I'm just saying, like, if there's let's look at like guns and things like that and people protesting, like, you know, school shootings and stuff like that. Do you think it's important to have some kind of physical presence that people can see that there are people out there? Or do you think it's better just to like go behind the scenes and like cozy up to lawmakers to do something about it? Wouldn't you agree that like you have to kind of be everywhere and have like a visual presence as well as doing things behind the scenes?
I mean, it depends, but what I'm trying to say is that they have no allies in Congress. They have no state lawmakers that even want to talk to them.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about that specific thing because you keep talking about like MLK and the civil rights movement. They actually did things that disrupted stuff.
Right, but they also did things that were constructive and they built relationships in Congress and they understand they
That's
needed.
Exactly what I'm asking you. Don't you think it's important to do things visually for the public to see, but at the same time also doing things behind the scenes?
But what are they doing behind the scenes? Like, that's the most important part. Like,
you don't like what they're doing publicly. You don't like what they're doing publicly.
I mean, I think the only thing they're doing is publicly.
But from what you're saying is they shouldn't do anything publicly. They shouldn't be disruptive. They shouldn't be.
They should protest. They should protest. And here's the crazy thing.
Okay, but Guillermo asked you then, what is the right way to go about doing that?
Protesting?
Because you see,
wait. Way of going about doing protesting, or
yeah. So if you were a part of this movement, what would you say, guys? This is what we should go out and do on this Saturday while the weather's nice this December.
I don't know who Dane Elliott is, but like,
tell me, it's someone on the internet. Like, we don't know every single person that like.
Sure, but listen. Dane, like, I hate to break it to you, but MLK knew that he needed like to win the minds of the moderates. It's a lot of people, the civil rights movement. It's not something that they should have done. So did I? Hold on, Guillermo.
Oh, I did.
Oh, sorry. That's my bad.
There you go. Thank you.
Can you hear us now? So yeah, no, what I'm trying to say is, like, this leaders of the civil rights movement understood that, you know, the white moderate was actually kind of the biggest roadblock for them. And it's like, unfortunately, you got to hold their hands. Like, you need moderates and you need moderate Congress people and stuff like that. I mean,
okay, but we also got to look at the time frame though. Like,
we have to the white moderates to do what we wanted.
No, I mean,
hard in the civil rights era. It was hard as hell. They fought They boycotted. It's not the moderates didn't freaking move. They moved the moderates. We pushed them. Protests and boycotts. It's what worked. You talk about that.
Tommy, the other thing too,
no, I wouldn't say it
also
was that way.
we also have to like look at the time frame we're in. Like Rosa Parks, that was a different time frame. You know, her not getting up, that was looked at differently back then, right? Like MLK and them like marching and stuff like that. That was looked at different. I mean, they were hosed down by firefighters. Like, what was considered disorderly conduct back then, I think you are thinking it's not that bad to do today, which it's not. But it's like,
I mean, I'm just talking about this one event, like this one event.
No, that's what I'm saying. So like, of course they could not go to a tree lighting ceremony in the 60s and yell in a Capitol like that. Of course they wouldn't be able to do that. People probably get killed from that. But like today in 2024, this is why we have Supreme Court cases, all these different laws that have been passed to like protect free speech and like look at what are the limitations and what is considered this or what is considered that. Like that was you're paralleling it to something that happened decades ago.
Hold on. This person's getting in my head. Dane and I, we actually know each other. Tommy, the kind of liberal that would have called the cops on people blocking roads and bridges during the civil rights movement. No, I just know that like the thing, Dane, is this behavior, what they're doing is accomplishing nothing. Because the people who were there that night, they aren't thinking about Gaza at the end of it all. They're thinking about these people who are acting belligerent and yelling about something that they never even paid attention to.
Okay, but
you know, it's just like, are you helping the movement?
Then you keep bringing up the civil rights movement, how they should have gone about doing things, but you don't want to look at the hypotheticals that I'm giving you.
Listen, I'm not even trying to tell them that they should do that. I'm saying they should look through inspiration there. I mean, the reason why you don't have any kind of relationships to actually get an arms embargo is because you give so much ammo to the other side.
I guess the reason why this fires me up is because like I heard like these arguments back in 2020 when people were protesting Black Lives Matter. That's not the way you should do it. Oh, you should not kneel during the national anthem. You shouldn't be marching in the street. You shouldn't be doing this. Like I've heard this argument before in a different situation to where it's just like, that's why I'm like trying to challenge your thinking here and like think about it more abstractly.
I mean, but like, it kind of feels like you're trying to equate me to those people that were like trying to tell me you can't do it like this.
But
like, I'm not.
That's what you're saying. When people were out there,
looking at a single event.
When people,
it's similar, Tommy. It is not the same, but it's similar. You've fixated on this specific event. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm only talking about one event, and then the behavior of a movement that's saying they want to get something done, and then doing the exact opposite of getting something done.
But like, see, that's exactly what people said during the Black Lives Matter protests. Oh, you guys are out here.
You can compare it.
Like, I can, because it's like everything that Black people tried to do, people told them that wasn't the right way to go about doing it.
Okay, but
you want to stand with the Black Lives Matter sign out in the street? You can't do that. You want to kneel during the national anthem? You can't do that. That's disorderly. That's not how you get things done.
No.
That's what I'm hearing, Tommy. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm sorry that you're hearing that, Jazari, but all I'm saying is that event, the way they behaved, was disorderly conduct. It was something that frightened children.
Okay, but what I'm saying
is something that made people feel unsafe.
When people had Black Lives Matter marches through neighborhoods, people also said...
Wait. Dane, like the civil rights movement, they did candlelight vigils. They did. Like, what are you talking about, Dane?
But Tommy, that's what I'm saying. When people march through neighborhoods to try to raise awareness about things that are happening to Black people, they said, that's disorderly conduct. You're threatening people. My kids in my neighborhood shouldn't have to see that.
Well, then they were wrong. I don't know what you want me to say, but I didn't witness it. I'm not there.
I did. I witnessed it. So when I hear when I hear you saying the things you're saying, Tommy, not saying that I don't agree. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with what they're saying, but I'm saying like, there has to be some kind of baseline to this.
Listen, if anybody's listen,
I'm not mad, Guillermo. We have these spirited debates.
No. I just want to people take turns. Jazari, I heard you. I want to hear Tommy.
Okay. Go ahead, Tommy.
I want to understand this BS. I do. I'm gonna call it BS because that's how I talk.
Honestly, Guillermo, you should probably just talk more than we should, to be honest. But listen.
Someone said yes, we're good. Guys, hold on, Tommy, real quick. We're not fighting. Like we're just having a debate. Like we're cool. Like this is.
I feel like I feel like it's like two guys and somebody in the comments that are taking on Tommy here. I feel a little teamed up, to be honest. But
Tommy, okay, Tommy, sorry. You know, I love you,
cut me off again. Let's do it again.
I said, I love you, Tommy.
I know, man, but it's just like I didn't think I was going to be a 3v1 or something here. But here's what I'm trying to say, man. I'm not those people who said Black Lives Matter protests were being disorderly. Okay, I'm not. I disagree with them. Okay, but here's the thing. The people who were at that event, nobody was moved by it. And that's supposed to be the point. You're supposed to be moving closer to an arms embargo or a ceasefire or something. Okay? They aren't moving. The only thing that they accomplished was a few thousand likes and shares on Instagram. That's the only thing they accomplished. Getting a round of applause from the people in their bubble. They aren't making any allies in Congress. They're not moving the needle on anything. The only thing those people at that event did after that were thinking about them. They weren't thinking about Gaza. They weren't thinking about the genocide, and it is a genocide. They weren't thinking about any of that stuff. They were thinking about those protesters, and that's the problem with those people is the focus is completely on them. And not to mention, Jim Pillen knew exactly what he needed to do to get all of the sympathy. Just continue to go and feel like he was the one who's being accosted or appear like he was the one who's being accosted. You aren't helping. It's just an egotistical thing. You just want likes and shares on Facebook. You're not accomplishing anything. You're not moving the needle on policy. You're not winning anybody in Congress, the people who could actually do an arms embargo, right? Realize that the Israel lobby has been at this for decades. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of power. They have a lot of friends, and they didn't get that overnight. And you're not going to get what you want overnight by crashing a tree lighting ceremony at the Nebraska Capitol. I mean, dude, it is a genocide. Dude, we do need an arms embargo and heavy sanctions, and Netanyahu is most likely an unadjudicated war criminal. But like, how does any of your egotistical, selfish behavior helping with any of that? None of those people cared. They just looked at you. They're thinking about you. They're not thinking about Gaza. They're not thinking about our foreign policy. That's it. That's the thing I'm most upset with.
To their problem, what would you think? Because I have a solution to the misunderstanding I think you're having with them. I think you need to
I'm not. When it comes to the tactics,
I think you guys need to talk to each other. I think.
I've tried.
We've tried.
Hold on. Wait, I will say, Guillermo, I will say, I have tried reaching out multiple times to people to come on and talk to us. I have. And some have respectfully declined, and some have kind of just like ghosted us and not replied or left us.
That's the other thing is like you want all this notoriety. You want to be out there in the open
to discuss this topic.
We've tried
on their side, on their level.
I know, Guillermo.
I'm not them.
Guillermo, I know what I'm saying is that we've tried.
I know we'll find somebody. Listen. I'm just saying. I'm not saying now. I'm not saying
don't
live to my expectations. Okay, I'm saying we'll find somebody.
No, I know what you're saying, but I mean, like, we do like a lot of behind the scenes stuff for this show. Like, we really do. So, like, we have tried reaching out. I've tried reaching out to people, sending multiple messages, trying to follow up with people, trying to get people on, and it just hasn't worked.
You hear that? So, if you're watching this, we need people.
So I really have. I really have. Trust me, I have. But yeah, Tommy, I hear what you're saying. And like I said, like, I just hope you can see from my perspective that I'm trying to look at like the situation in different ways, because you're focusing on this specific issue, which I know you are. I know what you're talking about. Did it move the needle? Did it change anything? Are they doing anything behind the scenes? I agree that they should be trying to do things behind the scenes and building relationships. I get that. And the Israel lobby, as all lobbies, are extremely powerful, right? Like, I get what you're saying. But from what I was trying to get at was like looking at it from a different perspective, because you kept bringing up, oh, kids, if this was my kid, if my family was there.
Yeah.
So that's why I was trying to look at it like if these were two separate, if this was a different event than a tree lighting ceremony, and this was a different issue instead of what's going on over there in Gaza right now, would you still have the same thought process? That's it.
Sorry, just a few sentences, back that up.
Damn, that was really good. You're gonna make me say that all over.
Basically, he's trying to get you to say, put yourself in their shoes. in
If it was a different if it was a
Mhm.
different event other than a tree lighting ceremony, and if it was a different issue being protested or talked about besides what's
let's
happening over in
say
Gaza.
Well,
let's say it was Guillermo protesting the guns at the legislature, and you know, I was being like them about the guns. Who
okay,
would be
well,
more threatening? Who's the more threatened? That's kind of what he's asking. Me or
I
the
don't know.
ones
I
with
mean,
holding the guns?
see, listen, it would just have to depend on the situation, but like I'm more comfortable around some people with guns than I am belligerent people. You know what I'm
Seriously?
So my words could hurt somebody.
Some people I know, I'm totally fine with being around them.
What if
they
it's
have
somebody
guns.
you don't know?
Are they being belligerent?
Tommy,
I grew up in
that's wild,
what are they
man.
doing? No, it's not. I grew up
No,
with
that
guns. I
is
come
it.
from that
No,
lifestyle.
but guns kill people, bro.
No, what are they doing with the gun? What is it that they're doing with the gun that is like I
Bro,
don't
this is
understand.
where
That's the part I don't get. Who's being threatening? Nobody out to get you.
What are they doing?
okay. So you are telling me there are some situations where you feel safer with a person with a gun than somebody who's yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
You feel like somebody yelling and screaming could do more damage than somebody who's
No,
protesting with a gun.
I did not say that. I mean,
So what are you
like,
saying?
there are certain people in my life who, if they had a gun,
Uh-huh.
I'm
But
not
no,
worried
what?
about
But
it.
you're talking about people you know. You're talking about
Oh,
people you know.
well, listen. If it's just a stranger who's just standing there open and carrying, and then they're next to somebody who's just yelling and being belligerent, who am I more worried about? Is that what you're asking?
No, we're talking about if the person with the gun is yelling and being belligerent too.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. What? I'm sorry. Yeah, if somebody is standing there being belligerent, period, I'm already on the defensive. It doesn't matter if they have a gun or not. Sorry. I don't know. I did miss you on that one, that's for sure.
Well, no,
But
not me. My question was that, Tommy, like, what if it was me protesting and then somebody else unknown, not that you know, was protesting by having a gun in the legislature? Which one's more dangerous?
well, let's just say an unarmed protester versus an armed protester, right? Is that where who would I feel more well, they're both acting belligerently. Is that what you're saying? They're both aggressive and are they both acting that way?
Well, they're most
Like,
welcome to protest, saying they're exercising their First Amendments. So, what would you think the law should be behind that?
wait, having a gun, like if you can protest with a gun, like if you're like, pistol in the air, like the
No,
problem
I
with
mean they're
the
holding
problem
it.
with hypotheticals is you have to be very, very
I'm
specific.
not saying hypothetical, dude. And they have held it up, and they have held it in their arms.
Did they point it at
And
you?
come on.
Did they point it at
So
you?
which one's more? Which one's more?
did-
It's not about me. It's not about me. Which one's more dangerous? Me or the one person with the gun?
Well, I mean, but you're just standing, both of you are just standing there and you're protesting and that's it. You're not doing anything
So which
besides
one's
that.
more threatening? We're talking about
Neither.
threats.
None of you are threatening if you're sitting there.
Now neither are threatening. That's where I find it. Well, my judgment feels confused to how I can. If there was a case in court, I would be like, "How are you?" This is highly confusing to me. I would look at you.
I don't
like,
know if I
"How?"
understand you, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I understand the
I don't
hypothetical
understand
situation.
you how you can like say I'm as threatening as somebody with a gun. Like
No,
my
I'm
words
saying
could damage somebody. That's where
no,
I'm
that's
at.
not what I'm saying. I'm asking you specifically, like, what is this scenario you're talking about? Like, I don't know how you're
Dude,
behaving.
like
I
if
don't know how
I
the
was
other person's behaving.
protesting at the state capitol, kind of like
Uh-huh.
what you're saying at the tree lighting ceremony, because you
That's
fixated
not
on that. That's fine. And then that other person had a gun and was protesting, and it was the other side. It was basically the different anti-me. I'm anti-gun, whatever we want to believe. I'm not. I like guns,
okay.
but the other person has gun. Well, what's up with that? Which one's more threatening? Me with a poster board saying no guns in the legislature, or the person who has a gun in the legislature full of bullets? Which one's more
And he's
threatening?
just standing there. This person is just standing there. They're open and carrying. They're not
How
saying
do you
anything.
know?
They're not doing
He's
anything.
an unknown person.
No, I'm
Do you know
asking
their
you, is
mental
that
health status?
I'm just asking, right? If
Well,
you're
I'm
sitting there,
asking too. Do you know their mental health status?
I need to know what is
Well,
going
I need to
on
know their
before I
mental
give you.
health status.
No, you don't. You don't
Why
need to know
not?
them because that's their business.
Oh,
It's
snap.
Well,
private
it's my
medical stuff.
business to
If they're not
protest.
yes, you can go ahead and protest. But I'm saying you
So
can't
who's
be
more threatening
disorderly.
then?
You can't. What are you talking? I don't understand what he's talking about.
I thought so.
No, I don't
Wasn't
understand what you're
the
talking
answer. It's
about.
all right. Cool.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Guillermo, break it down one more time.
Quite easy. I'm protesting across the aisle. Basically, I'm anti-gun, and that's
Sure.
hypothetical. I'm at a creek. I'm the belligerent yelling one. The other dude's just there with his gun, fully
saying
loaded
nothing.
and ready to go. I want to know which one's more threatening.
Fully loaded, ready to go. What are you talking about?
Gun-wise, let's say
He's
he
gonna
has a
shoot
gun.
you?
He's fully
gonna shoot
loaded,
you.
ready to go. He has a gun, and he's showing
Ready
out
to go to
outside the
do what?
Capitol, sir. Which one's more threatening? Guillermo Pena or the unknown person who I don't know if he can fire at me for protesting? Which one? Which one's more threatening?
Just because he has a gun and you don't.
So I think, Guillermo, are you thinking about like people trying to like take the situation into their own hands like that?
I mean, I don't know that. I don't know that.
No. But what I'm asking,
I'm just talking about threatening because he's trying to find the definition about this situation being threatening. He keeps saying that the protesters were threatening. I want to know what's more threatening, me protesting or the other person with the gun.
Listen, I'm saying if you're acting erratically and belligerently and threateningly, I guess, I don't know, then I'm threatened by you. That's it.
So
like
you're more threatened by me protesting than somebody with a gun.
Is this person with a gun acting as belligerent as you are? Because
so I'm protesting about Gaza.
Wait. I will say, Tommy did say earlier when people like open carry or brandish or whatever, that causes like a sense of uneasiness. I think that's what
I take it upon myself to go like, I get it. People are intimidated when they see a gun. I don't think it should be that way.
I think that's what Guillermo's trying to get at. Like,
I
feel like it brings a whole nother level of it intensifies it. That's why I'm bringing that subject up and that hypothetical, because
like when somebody has an actual
like
weapon
that can get up there really, really fast. And it's just who's more threatening. And that's what the court of law has to judge. If like a judge has to do, let's say a court case regarding that, he would have to base it off the evidence. And I don't think people protesting would be as threatenful as somebody with a gun.
Right. But I mean, we got to know that there's a difference between being belligerent and threatening and
I don't know that person's mental states. I feel threatened.
You don't get to know that person's mental state. You don't get to go, well, I think that person might be crazy, so they don't get to have a gun.
Why not? I mean, the other person, you're calling them belligerent. How do we know they're belligerent?
I'm not calling it. Okay, listen, here's what I'm saying. If you are acting erratic and emotionally charged and all this other stuff, I am going to be on the defensive.
So you're trying to define somebody's mental state.
No, if you're acting emotionally charged and rhetoric and
just that's where I'm at. Stuff. You're trying to find somebody's mental state who's protesting, but the person with the gun doesn't have the same reference. I don't know how.
I don't understand
how it's equal before the law.
I don't understand what you're like. Listen, if you
that's
are
where I'm at.
Acting aggressively,
I think you're lost.
Can I just say, if you're acting aggressively, I'm going to be on the defensive. That's just, it doesn't matter if you have a gun or not.
But they're protesting regarding a certain subject. How is that threatening to you?
That doesn't threaten me.
Guillermo, I think he's saying like whether or not you have a weapon, if you're acting, you know, out of pocket, then that's going to make him feel threatened, regardless if you have a gun or not.
Well, I think that's him. Then I mean,
wait,
I don't know
okay? So if
we
somebody's
can
just
apply
standing there
that rule
silent
of
by
law
themselves,
to everybody universally.
Let me ask you: are you trying to say that if I'm just standing there, open and carrying, I'm not?
I'm sorry, this is just wild. Go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm just standing there, I'm silent, I'm not acting outwardly at all, I'm not talking to anybody, but I have a gun on my hip, I'm the threatening one.
Yes, you're more threatening than my words.
Well,
who can kill my words or your gun?
I'm
or
not
the
pulling
person's
my
mental
gun on
state?
you. I'm not pulling my gun on you
How
if
do
you're
I
just
know your mental
yelling.
state? I don't know.
But
You
that's
You
what
don't
he
get
seem a
to
said.
little
know my
sketchy
No,
mental
and
no, no.
state.
It's
erratic to
not. It's
me.
not.
Well,
Tommy,
how do I know your mental state?
Tommy,
Why do you get to protest
Tommy.
and act belligerent?
It's not like he's saying you get to know somebody's. I think you're looking at it too literally.
Yeah.
What he's saying is like, I don't know if you're crazy or not.
Okay.
That's what he's saying in a different way.
I just don't understand what okay, so it's
You don't know if
different.
somebody carrying that gun is crazy or not, is what Guillermo's saying.
And you're
Okay,
applying that
but
to the protesters at
if
Gaza because you fear for the children's lives. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I
no,
get
I'm
where you're
not.
coming
The
from. I
reason
get you,
why I'm
but
on the defensive is if somebody's acting hostile, I'm going to be on the defensive. That's it. I don't know if they're having a laugh or not. You know, like what are you talking about? If you're acting aggressively, if you're acting shifty or fidgety or anything like that, I'm gonna be on the defensive. I mean,
so
I've
you're
been in
defining
situations where
somebody's mental state for protesting a certain
no,
subject.
I'm not. I'm looking at somebody's behavior and I'm getting a little on the defensive and I'm starting to back away. That's usually what I do. I've had people
Don't you think
yelling
behavior is defined by
physically
your
in my
mental state as well?
no, what? I don't understand what's going on here. If
I'm
you're
asking
acting
questions.
aggressively,
I think you guys get what each other's saying, but we're saying it in like different ways now. Like, I think there's like
No,
a
oh,
general.
I'm asking questions. I don't think he can answer them, and that's fine.
I
Okay.
don't know the questions you're asking though.
Okay,
That's the
Guillermo,
thing, man.
Guillermo, he's really not getting it. Like he's,
Like,
I don't.
It's
understand.
fine. He can't answer my question. My
No,
question
it's
is,
I
not that
don't
he can't.
he
understand your
can't
question.
Guillermo, I'm
answer. It's
telling.
fine. It's cool. It's cool.
Guillermo, I don't
I don't think
understand
he
your question.
understands where I'm coming from.
No, I
I
don't.
understand him where he's coming from, but I don't think he
I don't
understands
think
the
you do. I don't
perspective
think you
that
understand how
these people
confused I
just
am because
protesting.
apparently
We
if I'm
don't
just
like
standing
them
there,
protesting, but we gotta live
I
there.
didn't say that. I didn't say
we
anything about
can't,
not
gotta
protest. Those
accept
people.
life. It's the freedom of
Oh
America,
God.
man.
Okay,
Seriously.
Guillermo, I'm telling you, he's not understanding what you're asking. For real, it's not that he's not
I
choosing
I
to.
mean, it's quite easy. I mean, he's
Okay,
talking about threat. This
Apparently
whole
it's
show's
not.
been
Hey,
about
okay,
threat,
pause.
and I want to know
okay.
which threat was bigger.
Everybody,
He told
I
me
wanna
all
say
threats
Tommy
are
has a learning disability. Tommy has
okay.
autism, ADHD, social
Oh,
impairment, social
okay.
anxiety
Well,
disorder. I don't understand people from the
so
get-go.
thank you. That
And the thing
I
is
didn't have to
I
tell me
need
that on air. I mean,
meticulous
I
detail.
appreciate a message and maybe a conversation. This is what goes back. I think communication is very key with understanding each other. It goes back to what
Right.
I was
Okay.
saying.
I get it.
So
And
now I understand a lot.
Tommy,
that
okay. So I guess
you
what
seem
he's
really sincere to me. I just want to respond. You seem really sincere to me. I totally get it. I appreciate that. I'm just saying it's like it sucks to have to tell everybody like, oh, by the way, I'm autistic. You know, like every time I try to have a conversation with somebody, it's not something that readily comes out. You know,
No,
but all I'm
it's
saying
fine.
is like I don't understand people in general. And when it comes to hypotheticals, it's just like you change one variable and I have to think 2 or 3 hours about it. Okay?
Okay.
All I'm just saying is if somebody is behaving erratically, I'm going to be defensive no matter what, whether they have a gun or not. You know, I mean, I was, you know, I work in the VA and sometimes I've gone on like a voluntary detail where we go talk to homeless people, homeless vets, to make sure that they've signed up for their benefits, right? And you do this off the clock, on your own, volunteer. You're not at work, right? You're just going out trying to pass out flyers and give out cards and stuff like that. And one time I came across a homeless veteran who was completely like what you would say, completely in your face and all this other stuff. And I just de-escalate and back away. So these people at the protest, if I'm feeling threatened, the first thing I'm going to do is get up and leave. Right? Okay. I'm not trying to say that I'm going to shoot them, you know? You know, it's like, so I don't understand when you say like, why is it me? You're scared of me who's acting, I guess, belligerent. Why am I more threatening than the person just standing there with a gun just at his hip? I mean, if he's
I'm
just
asking
standing there
which
not
one's
doing
more
anything.
threatening. That's all I was asking. Which one's more threatening?
Okay, if you had two people, and this is just me asking, one is acting belligerent, erratic, shouting, yelling, emotionally charged, right? And then one person is just not saying or doing anything, just standing there, not making any quick movements, just standing, literally doing nothing but breathing, but they happen to have a gun on their hip. You're telling me which one of those is most threatening?
Yes.
Yeah, the person acting belligerent. If the person's just standing there with the gun, like I grew up in West Texas, dude.
Okay.
I grew up in a family full of, we had guns.
So I think this is like where the caveat, or this is where Guillermo's thinking is coming from.
Yeah.
You don't know if that person is a silent killer. Like, you don't know if that person is chill, but they're really like, plotting in their head. Like, there are some people who like keep their composure and all that stuff, and the next thing you know, bam! Like, I think that's what Guillermo's getting at.
Okay, well, I mean, if I'm looking at somebody who's just standing there doing nothing, and I'm looking at somebody who's being erratic, I'm going to tell you the erratic one is the most threatening one. I don't think like that. Like, if there's a person just off by themselves, first of all, if I feel like I'm in a situation where shit can pop off, I'm getting out of there. And I've pieced out of situations a lot. Like, there's several protests I've left early because I thought things might be going down. And I'm not going to stand there just because I have a gun in my belt thinking, oh, I'm going to be a Rambo. Like, this might pop off, and then I'm going to pull my gun out. No, you have a duty to retreat.
But there are people who think like that. That's what Guillermo's saying. There are people out there who think like that. Who feel like
feel safe around you with a gun. Tommy.
Who feel
safe
like
you with a gun. I don't know if some weirdo. I don't know the weirdo.
But like,
fine, man. But
think of like what happened in. I don't even want to get into this.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Do you remember what happened in Kenosha, Kyle Rittenhouse? Like that situation.
That's a messed up situation, and that is not somebody being a responsible gun owner. That person was looking for a fight. But I know we can go into that.
Listen, I think where we're gonna land on this is people are people, and people are gonna people, and you don't know like this or that, or you might feel safe in a situation, but somebody else might feel different because of X, Y, Z or whatever they have. I mean, like I've seen protests where like the cops come up and talk to kid, and when or one of the protesters, and when they like put their hand on their hip a certain way, their immediate thing is like, oh my gosh, they're about to reach for their gun. Like that's what some people think. Like some people worry about like that kind of stuff. So it's just like people have different lived experiences that make them think a different way. You grew up in Texas, you grew up around all this stuff. Like we know I grew up like after losing my stepfather to police violence, like I don't feel safe around like, a cop, and when they put their hand on their hip a certain way, that can trigger something for me. Like I think that's where we're all getting at. Like
while you were talking, I thought of something that's true, inappropriate, but true. If you change the situation slightly to where that guy who was just standing there by himself and he wasn't doing anything, just had a gun on his hip, and then you put him into a cop uniform, then I'm worried. No? Anybody get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm, quite honestly, like gun owners I know, probably safer than the cops. I'm just going to put it that way. But yeah, no, I get it. There are people out there that are not responsible gun owners, and I wish we could figure all this stuff out. But if somebody, like at the end of the day, if you're just asking me, like, does having a gun, does me feeling it, I don't know what I'm trying to say, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
It's just, I mean, think of it this way. It's like, in that like vestibule, the fishbowl, as people call it, like you can have guns in there, but you can't have a sign in there. You know what I'm saying?
Like I could just pull out a gun and just wave it around.
You pretty much can at the legislature.
I mean, obviously, like
that would be ridiculous.
No, I've seen people like in the vestibule with guns. You can stand in there with an AR-15. I remember a senator told me once, I was sitting under the balcony when I was at the legislature. He comes up and he said, hey, things are about to pop off here, maybe in the next couple of days. This is when like LB 574, the abortion ban, all this stuff. And he said, just make sure you know where all the exits are.
Oof.
That's what he said. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, they can carry guns in there. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, all I'm saying, just know where the exits are. Sure. That's it. So it's just like,
I mean, I have like, fine, open carry if you must, but like me being a gun owner, me being somebody who grew up, I don't know why you would want to open carry.
It's to make a statement, as you say, like it's to make a statement. It's to intimidate people.
It could be. I mean,
Then what's the reason? I mean, you are in the Nebraska State Capitol. What need do you feel to be packing heat or open, like, having heat right here, right now?
The only reason why I carry guns in those situations, and not to mention I'm avoid a lot of protests for the reason, but the only why I carry guns is because I'm afraid of other people.
But what I'm saying is, I could understand that, like, because you were talking about like going to a protest or something like that.
Safety.
Let's say if you're, you're going to a protest like somewhere else in a different. I feel like there are different locations where it's just like, do you know, like, is it? It's certain locations. It's like, is it necessary to carry this with you? Like, do you feel like a protest inside the Capitol Rotunda, right outside the chamber where the senators are meeting, requires, or do you feel like, okay, I'm going into this protest, I feel like I need to bring a gun with me? Like,
what I think about is like, I just don't understand it. Okay, so listen, you know, I think sincerely on this one. If you are actually worried to the point where you feel like you need to have a gun for self-defense and you're worried about certain situations, fine. But I just don't I don't understand why anybody would want to open carry. Like, you know, like, so it's not even just, oh, at the, well, you know, is it okay if they do it? I think it's just a flex. I don't think it's illegal, but
I think it's just a flex. I think,
yeah, no, you're probably right. It just doesn't make any sense why you would want to open carry.
Have that flex, but I don't want it. I don't need it. And even if I could, I can do
really
it.
Misguided.
I'd probably be arrested, and you all know that. That's where I'm at with it.
It's really misguided. Like, I just don't. I can't imagine the person who sincerely wants. I don't know why you would want to open carry. I just, under any circumstances.
I don't either. But
safety. I don't know what they say. Safety. They say safety. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I don't. It's just like, from one gun over to the other. It's just like, okay, like, why do you want anybody to know you have a gun? Because you're going to be the first person to get shot in whatever situations. It's like, yeah, it's just like, but what do you do? I mean, I guess, I don't know. Open carry. Yeah, I could see it. Get rid of it. Who cares?
Dang, we went from like, Beyonce to the NFL to protest with the Capitol to open carry guns.
I don't know why you would want to open carry. That's all I'm saying. It's just like, I sincerely don't understand, other than intimidation. And it's just like, if you got two brain cells to rub together in your head, you know, you wouldn't want to be associated with that. At least I just don't understand why somebody would want to open carry, you know? And then, like, yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse, that guy was looking for trouble. The reason why he got off is because I think they just gave him the wrong charges.
Well, that's the thing. I think people go into those situations looking for trouble. It's just like
Kyle Rittenhouse did. Yeah, for sure.
But I agree with you on several aspects of your comment regarding the tree lighting ceremony. If I was leading that protest and I wanted something made, it wouldn't be on that, or it'd probably be somewhere else. But I'm not their team leader, you know. Sure. So I agree on that. They're not accomplishing anything, but I wish they would do something that could actually help Gaza. But it's not for me to say because I'm not them. I agree with you.
I know. The thing is why I really hoped somebody would come in, and honestly, I would have been a little bit more emotionally prepared for it, so I could have not, you know, started yelling and get emotional and stuff like that. But, like, from what I can tell, there is, without a doubt, a person this is like one of their main issues. Like, without a doubt, they're going to know more about me. They're going to know more about the history of Gaza versus Israel and all this other stuff. They're going to know more. They're going to know more about what and it's just like, I want to know, like, why is it that how is it that these are the tactics that are going to get us to an arms embargo or sanctions or a change in government there in Israel? How is this going to be it? Because, like, the thing, I can agree, it is a genocide. It definitely is. I could build a case for it. It wouldn't be too difficult, right? Should there be an arms embargo? Of course there should be. Duh. Like, I mean, how is, you know? But it's just like, but then how do we get it? Let's go do this at a tree lighting ceremony in
the American economy. It's really complex, and I understand your sensory perception of things. You know, I understand where you're coming from on sensory level. Sounds and touch can be very detrimental to somebody, and I understand where you're coming from.
No, that's a good point. Didn't think about that. Oh no, you're getting in my head, Guillermo.
Sorry, it's 15 years in healthcare. You learn a thing or two, man.
No, no, that's man, that is actually, I'll just admit, I wasn't thinking about how loud noises and shouting and sensory was might have been impacting how I felt about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The thing is I want these things to happen, and I think that this movement might have made that even harder. And it's like the one thing that I think they might have accomplished was bringing down youth morale when it came to voter turnout, because after 3 consecutive cycles of youth breaking turnout in 2024, for some reason youth turnout dropped by 20%. Huge. It was a huge drop. We had 3 consecutive elections of record-breaking youth voter turnout, and then we got to this election, and then for some reason it was 20% collapse. And Tufts University does a lot of analysis on youth sentiment and youth voters, and by far the 18 to 29 demographic were the ones who were most sensitive to the Gaza movement. So I mean, I'm just inferring the reason why the collapse in youth turnout happened was probably because of the Gaza conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And because of I mean,
I thought,
I really do think
makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. They're tired of the status quo, Tommy. They feel that the system is broken in that aspect. It's the same as business, and people don't get any healthier, and people don't raise wages, don't go up, and housing sure does go up, doesn't it? So people who are just entering life in reality, becoming young adults, they don't know what to do with life. They feel everything has been broken since their birth. We happen to experience, the last great generation in the 90s. And I feel privileged to have had that.
Of course. And sure, okay, but to go around and then say Genocide Joe and Killer Kamala and Kamala loves genocide and all this stuff. But where was
that was crazy. I didn't like
where
that.
was the same words against Trump? And like, I know it's very hard for me to come and tell you, hey, you know how it's a nightmare over there? Well, it's going to get worse if you don't vote for Harris. Like, I know that is not something you can really sell somebody on, right? But I'm sorry, like Miriam Adelson doesn't give you $100 million for your presidential campaign for nothing. I hope I'm wrong. But if God's
the thing is, I think that people don't understand how the government works. Like, people on TikTok, some Gen Zers were freaking about like, oh, Roe v. Wade was overturned during Biden's time, so it must be Biden's fault. And if you actually care about something about it right now, then do something, Biden. Bring it back right now, Biden. It's like people don't understand like how things really work in this country and like how legislation and things get passed. Like, so yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
No, I understand. It's a good discussion. And, honestly, if I'd been prepared for it a little bit more, that I feel like I could have kept my cool or anything like that. But,
it's Free Talk Friday. This thing was your concept.
What you talking about? I had a blast. I think it's good to communicate and let some emotions out that I've been keeping in there. Then we won't feel all weird at the Capitol and shit, man.
No, for sure. But, I will say that for somebody who grew up with autism, ADHD, like, the inattention and the social ineptitude is not the hardest part. The hardest part is the emotional dysregulation. I try my hardest to stay composed and unemotional as possible, because really my nature is to just be completely uncontrolled emotionally. Like, I can't do it. It's very hard to regulate emotions with somebody who has neurodivergent disorders. Go ahead.
So I want to talk about when I was working on Precious's interview, I'm over there cackling in the background like a maniac, and you're like barely laughing. I'm just like, so you were suppressing those emotions the whole time. So you have me on that record sounding wild.
It's a near constant. No, it really is a near constant thing. Like, I envy the people who can remain calm and composed. And if I had been a little more prepared, like, I think that I could have kept a lid on it a little bit more.
No, I'm talking about the interview that we did, because I was watching the video.
No,
and I'm sitting there cackling, and Tommy's just like, so you mean to tell me you were suppressing your laugh?
Yeah, I mean, when I go into a situation and I prepare for it, like I usually behave a certain way. I usually try to prepare a certain way. But
Because
yeah,
I was
mean,
looking at you and I'm like, damn, I should have been more like that.
Yeah, I know, but when I like daydream about a situation and I mentally prepare for it, then I can kind of like stick to a whole plan. Like this is Free Talk Friday. I come in with no plan. And then like I mean, like I had daydreamed like if we ever had anybody on from that movement that I would try to be as because I really do want to understand what a person is thinking.
Me too.
When I
Me
don't
too.
understand what they're saying,
Trust me,
I do want to and like in the end, it's like if I'm just gonna yell at them and shout them down, it's not, you know, like I did in this conversation. I did that at some points because I wasn't prepared to keep a lid on it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about like the bad emotions. I'm talking about the good ones. Like you
All
could
of them.
laugh, chuckle, ha ha he he. So you have me on that interview looking like so the way you look at me is just like, why are you freaking
Two sides of the same
like,
coin, man. Just because you know, it's much easier to filter all emotion than positive.
Man, I'm
just
just
negative. But
I'm just giving you grief.
The thing is like at the end of the day, it's like I can agree with this movement on so many levels, and the only thing we disagree on is tactics. And when I come in and say you're getting the tactics wrong, then people say I love genocide. And then people say, "Oh, I'm the liberal."
Oh no! I got your message right across what you're trying to tell me.
No, I'm talking about.
But other people don't. I get it.
Dane was like, Tommy, the kind of liberal that would have called the cops on people blocking roads and bridges during the civil rights movement. It's like, no, no. It's just I'm looking at your actions and I'm seeing that you're accomplishing nothing, and possibly even the opposite of what you want.
People process information differently and act on it differently. I feel like humans are computers. I feel like Karen from SpongeBob. I'm just crazy. But what's up? Let's talk about some progressive civil rights movie. Have you guys seen the 3868 or whatever the hell that was on Netflix? Because I loved it. About the man.
3868?
I haven't had time to watch it. I haven't.
Movie?
Guillermo, do you know what my day consists of?
What's up?
Like, so so I think people like, not just you, but I think people generally think that like we just turn on a camera and like do this. There's a lot of like background research we do, a lot of side conversations. We probably go through like 400, 500 text messages a day preparing for like all this stuff, like editing all the things that I have to edit. Like there's so much. Okay, let's look at the interview that we did with Precious. All the setting up, all the recording, all the editing. After all that's done, you got to make the thumbnail. You got to think of the captions. I mean, we went back and forth in our group chat. Like, what do you think of this title? What do you think of this description? Like, we went through like a whole bunch of stuff and like, there's just a lot. So what I'm saying is coming on here and the videos that's posted is like literally like 5% of everything that goes into it. Would you agree, Tommy?
Yeah. I mean, we spend all day just like talking in our text messages about like what is something we can talk about, and then if it seems like something interesting, we have to spend a few hours on like, well, let's try to polish this, you know. And I want to get better at that.
I'm just random as hell. God damn.
like okay, so another thing too, we haven't done it in a while, but like when we would like talk about the different stories, it's like I have to find all the photos of these people, put into Premiere, add the effects, transition it, upload it to this software, and then create create the overlay so that when we move on to this next thing, you know, we have the pictures flash. Like, there's a lot that goes into it.
Sorry, I'm so sorry that I can't.
No, I did not watch that movie, Guillermo. You are a
I'm sorry that I can't be more useful, dude.
I am too. Shoot.
I mean, if there's like little busy work things you need me to do, I guess get your.
Well, I asked you about emails, and you're like, "What was this?" Yes. No, this wasn't. This was. Oh, this is on the recorded one that's going to come out on Monday. I asked you about emails. You're like, "Yeah, I'm bad at emails."
Oh, dude, I cannot answer emails.
So what do you help me with, Tommy?
You got it. Tommy, you got it. I'm going to tell you this much. I learned that. I hated that too, but people force me. It's important. Now I check my email. I have to. You miss shit.
Yeah.
You miss shit.
I know, man. And it's like, it's such a shameful thing. Like at work, my boss is like, did you read that email? And it's just like, why do we have to start this conversation like this? You know, you're just being rhetorical at this point. You know the answer. You know the answer. I should be like, yes, I did, but I forgot. Sorry. No. But no, I mean, yeah, I appreciate you guys talking. My wife is starting to send me a text. She's like, where the hell are you? We're about half an hour over.
No, you're
See,
fine. This was
it's
fun.
fun.
Invite me.
Yeah.
This
Edit
was
me
fun.
out. Whatever.
No. And Guillermo, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to understand what you were saying.
No,
That's
I was
difficult.
trying to see how I could communicate across, and you explained your situation and a little bit of part of who you are. So,
What do you
I
mean edit
understand.
you out? Baby, this is
Oh.
live.
Dude,
You can edit me out. I mean,
you're a
put a little
contributor,
face
man.
on
You're
it, a happy face. I don't know, whatever you want to do in the
what do they
future.
call them?
The audio is
Citizen
going to be
reporters?
uploaded though to like the audio
shoot,
podcast.
well, excuse me if I have cursed and you hear my profanity.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
that. I just have to mark that it's explicit, and it's cool.
All right, well, excuse my agreed profanity. I'm just messing. You guys gotta go. I can go on forever. I like communicating. See you guys later.
Hey,
All right.
Guillermo. Hope
What's
you
up?
come on next Friday.
Hey, and if
you
you're ever
guys have me,
in,
Tommy, I like picking your brain. I ain't bothering you. I like
Thanks,
picking your
one of us.
brain.
Hey, if you're ever
You
in
give me a
town,
laugh. I can't with you. I can't. So your
If you're ever-
hypotheticals, I can't with your hypotheticals. We went from Beyonce to something else.
Who, me? Whale fishing, protesting in front of the waffle man. making
Your
waffles.
whale fishing hypothetical. I was like, Tommy, I don't get that one either, but we're gonna go with it.
hey, if you're ever in Lincoln, come do a sit down with us.
Oh,
Come into the studio.
I wanted to come over. I just got sick. That's why I sound like somebody that smoked like 40 packs of cigarettes right now, but it's fine.
When is the next time you're going to be in Lincoln?
Oh no, I wanted to go to that Dames in Lincoln. I want to go to Dames because I haven't gone to that K bar.
Wait, you're
Yeah.
not in. Where are you?
I'm close by, an hour 40 minutes away. I'm in St. Joe, Missouri, managing the Budget Inn.
We'll have to come in. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
that's
We'll do a
awesome.
video from there, St. Joe.
Yeah,
Oh,
we like
God,
bringing
no.
bringing people in. Just
I
hear
love
about
my
their life.
people from here, but no. They can hate me. They know who they are.
Hey, Guillermo, we really appreciate you tuning in and coming on and having a conversation with us. We really do appreciate you. Peace.
Later.
All right, Tommy, this was
Oh,
fun.
hey, shit! I didn't know we were off live yet.
Oh,
Dude, I wish I would have been fucking prepared. I
hey,
could've
wait,
been
hold
way
on.
more
Okay,
into it.
thank you guys so much for tuning into this Free Talk Friday. Peace. We'll see you in the next one.
Oh, we're not.